Well, the month is slowly drawing to an end. Today is the 29th. Welcome to Tuesday on the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. I do this together with Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. Now, coming up shortly, we'll be serving you the news, but right after that, we'll be hosting energy analyst Kojo Poku as he joins us for the news review. But then we give you our big stories, and we have every reason to celebrate this morning because guess what? The Black Stars rose to the occasion and delivered a 3-2 win, a stunner against the South Koreans, sending Ghanaian fans into ecstasy. But can the Black Stars make it to the next stage as they come face to face with the might of Uruguay? We'll be taking your reactions on that. We'll also be engaging some connoisseurs of the game to know what they have to say. Again, what should be your investment strategy in the midst of debt restructuring and haircuts? Some say this is not a haircut, but we'll hear from the experts and we'll be asking whether the 2023 budget is one of a global scapegoating situation that neglected domestic triggers. We'll delve more into that. Again, we have third-party motor insurance premiums, which are going up by 30%, a whopping 30% across the board, effective January the 1st. From some reports, though, December the 1st. We'll look at the impact of this hike. But later, you get the chance to share your thoughts with us, as always, because this show is all about you. Yes, all about you. So share your thoughts with us with the hashtag AM Show in the course of the show. And you can also shoot through your predictions for the Ghana-Uruguay match. What are you anticipating? Send to us via our social media streams. On that note, let's gear up for the news. Up next. Welcome to the news. Let's settle for our first story. And government says it will ensure due diligence in its negotiations with various companies and its goal for oil barter deal. The move is aimed at getting cheaper options for fuel and also reduce the stress on the Ghana cedi. Since the social media announcement of the deal by Vice President Bawumia, there have been concerns about the practicality of the policy. We'll hear from government shortly, but first, listen to the CEO of the Chamber of Mines, Dr. Suleiman Akone.
Well, it's in the details. We don't have the details, and that's the difficulty. Yes, we know about the domestic gold purchase program, but then you are talking about the counterparties who are interested in taking gold for oil, which they would sell to the state. We need some more details, and this is where government needs to take its time and go through due diligence. Yes, we know that we are in a difficult situation, but we need to hasten slowly and make sure that we really understand and appreciate what we want to do before we actually sign off. On paper, it looks novel. It is quite innovative. This is something we've never done before. I think that this is something we should be able to do, but let's hasten slowly so that we really understand the various risks involved.
Now, former Power Minister and a member of the Energy and Mines Committee of Parliament, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, says the introduction of the policy is exposing government's desperation.
The PMMC is going to buy from small-scale miners who in 2020 accounted for about 40% of our total gold export. If we're going to buy in cedis, again, what we're going to experience is that there will be greater leakage of gold from our system. And when the Minerals Commission briefed Parliament at a closed-door meeting in Takoradi, even the income tax on small-scale mining, when it increased from 3% to about 4%, we experience a reduction in the quantum of gold sold on the Ghanaian market. Gold then leaves the shores of Ghana. And therefore, if you say you're going to pay the small-scale miners who account for 40% of our total gold export in cities, you can bet that at least half of their products will leave the Ghanaian system through our porous borders.
But speaking on the probe, Deputy Minister in charge of Petroleum, Dr. Amin Adam, insists proper due diligence is currently underway and adds that the policy will take off in March 2023.
As I'm speaking to you, the Bank of Ghana is undertaking due diligence on some of the gold brokers. Okay, so due diligence is a major part of the work we do as a government because we don't want to exercise indiscretion. We want the discretion we exercise to serve the interests of the Ghanaian people who put us in government. And so we have to make sure that proper due diligence is done before we take off so that we don't stop along the way.
Is government desperate?
Government is desperate every day. Government is desperate every day because we are not happy about the economic circumstances of our country. And we know that some of these are beyond our control. What is happening in Russia is beyond our control. The logistical challenges in the oil and gas industry globally is beyond our control. Petroleum products are priced globally. It's beyond our control. And so to get desperate ideas to address desperate problems, I think should be part of the overall work of government.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has been commenting on this initiative. Here's the governor, Dr. Ernest Addison.
Coming to the gold for crude oil swap program, this is still being discussed for implementation in 2023. We have 20% of the large-scale producers already planned to be bought by the central bank. But more importantly, I think the agreement is that the PMMC will be buying a lot of the gold, which is exported by the licensed gold exporters. They are exporting quite a bit of gold, as much as $3 billion in 2018 and 2019. So the data that I have seen shows that the licensed gold exporters have significant amounts of gold, which PMMC will be asking them to make available to support this program. So they will be providing most of the gold that will be used for the crude oil swap. I think that the oil will be refined, not crude. Sometimes that gets a bit confusing, but the discussion so far has focused on refined oil. So we are going to use gold, not refined gold. This is Doré gold. From the last discussions that we had, these licensed gold exporters, they don't refine their gold, so many of them. And that's what is going to be exported for the refined gold.
Now, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has said a recent surging violence by armed insurgent groups and criminal gangs in some countries in the Sahel have resulted in the displacement of about 2.5 million people this year. Speaking at the launch of the Gulf of Guinea Northern Region's Social Cohesion Project at Bolgatanga in the Upper East region, the Vice President said the last 5 years had been the most violent on record and countries needed to take measures to stop the activities of extremist groups from spreading to other parts of the African continent. Correspondent Albert Sori reports.
The Gulf of Guinea Northern Region's Social Cohesion, or SOCO project, aims to improve regional collaboration and the socio-economic and climate resilience of border zone communities in the target northern regions of the Gulf of Guinea countries exposed to conflict and climate risks. The northern regions of the Gulf of Guinea countries include Benin, La Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, and Togo. The SOCO project also aims to proactively prevent the spread of conflict from the Sahel and strengthen local institutions, economic opportunities, and public trust. The project is financed from the World Bank International Development Association to the tune of $450 million. Of this amount, Ghana has been allocated $150 million. At the launch of the Soko project at Bolgatanga here in the Upper East region, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia gave some details about the project.
The project has been conceived and designed to address the effects of the spillover of conflicts and extremism from the Sahel region, reduce vulnerability because of exposure to the impacts of climate change, the $450 million multi-country credit facility. It focuses mostly on border communities in these regions where the citizenry, especially women and youth, are exposed and are susceptible to the threats of terrorism from the Sahel region. Thus, the project focuses on dealing with issues relating to fragility, conflicts, and violence.
He said recent surging violence by armed insurgent groups and criminal gangs in some countries in the Sahel have resulted in the displacement of about 2.5 million people this year.
Together, the northern parts of these Gulf of Guinea countries have become a unique converging point for multiple crises. The recent unrelenting and surging violence by armed insurgent groups and criminal gangs in some countries in the Sahel have resulted in the internal displacement of about 2.5 million people this year, which is quadruple the number of displaced persons in just 2019. Available data suggests that the Sahel also hosts over 850,000 refugees, mainly from Mali. Indeed, the past 5 years have been the most violent on record, with over 12,000 conflict events and 50,000 fatalities since June 2019.
Country Director for World Bank, Pierre-Franck Laporte, said the multifaceted nature of the Gulf of Guinea Northern Region's social cohesion project makes it challenging, but he was confident that government and stakeholders were up to the task.
The World Bank has also other programs aimed at addressing some of the drivers of inequality and deprivation, including improving forest and landscape management, increasing connectivity through improved roads and digital access, and addressing particularly vulnerable communities through social protection programs. In our pipeline, there are also other operations, including the Youth Employment Project, the Agriculture Tree Crop Project, which are both coming in the next few months.
The Soko project will be implemented by the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development. A total of 48 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the 6 regions of the north will benefit from the project. Dan Botwe is Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development.
This program will be supervised by the regional coordinators. And for that matter, our regional House of Chiefs will have a direct role in monitoring. Each regional House of Chiefs will send 2 representatives to the regional coordinators.
The Soko project will run for approximately 5 years. For JoyNews, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
Now, in education, there is some disagreement among 2 youngsters who lost their parents under strange circumstances in the Ashanti region's Ikrima Macro on whether to enroll in school to start their formal education. Jake and Jesse Jackson were educated at home by their parents until the death of these parents, denying them the chance to socialize with other neighbors. Jake is kicking against going to school to learn, but his younger brother is eager to enroll. Ahiming Terry of our security desk, who has been on this beat, caught up with the teenagers in their new Anwomaso home and now reports.
Well, and Ernestina Jackson were discovered in the apartment at Abuakwa Makru. The deceased and their children, who were domiciled in the Netherlands, relocated to Ghana without the knowledge of their extended families. Their surviving children, aged 11 and 13, were rescued in an unconscious state by police at their home. It followed the couple's long absence from public space. After being discharged from the Abuakwa Government Hospital, where they spent several weeks recuperating, Jake Jackson insists he wants to be taught at home. According to him, it feels good to learn at home, something he enjoyed from his deceased parents.
I don't want to go to school, I want to learn here. It feels good if I learn at home. I will teach myself.
But his brother, 11-year-old Jesse Jackson, prefers to study at school.
Yes, because the law baby of Ghana says you have to learn at school, that's home.
He wants to make new friends, which he's questioned by his brother.
You will make friends? Yes. What will happen if the friends listen to the devil, not the good? And Jesse said, if the friends are listening to the devil, I will say to them, you're not my friend anymore. My family said, whoever listens to the devil, go to hell. Whoever listens to Jesus or God will go to heaven.
Meanwhile, the mother of the teenagers has since been buried after an autopsy. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimenteria reporting.
Now, the kingmakers of the Bi traditional area in the Hohoi municipality of the Volta region have installed Seth Kojo Agbesinyale as the Togbegan Gabusu VII. The investment officer succeeds the late Togbegan Gabusu VI, who reigned for 29 years, contributing to the development of the area and the chieftaincy institution in the region. There is more in the following report by Fred Kwame Asari.
The colorful coronation ceremony, which saw the display of indigenous African culture, took place at the municipal capital, Hohoi. Togbegan Gabusu, who holds a master's in business administration from the University of Sunderland, UK, is a senior investment officer with the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation. In his inaugural address, Togbegan Gabusu VII outlined unity, job creation, tourism, fiscal and human development, among others, as areas he would focus on during his reign as leader of the Bi state. The Minister of Railways Development, John Peter Amewu, entreated the Bi traditional area to rally behind Togbegan Gabusu VII for the common good of the area.
As an MP, we will continue to support his kingdom. We will build his kingdom. We will make his kingdom enviable. We will make this state the state of state among states. We will make every children here to become benefit of this country. For some reason, including myself, that has felt that difficulties has emerged within these 2 years because of Nana Akufo-Addo. Nobinyo, Tokyo, Menye na Mile Fubo. Menye na But I am telling you that His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, as the leader and the president of this country, are taking responsibility for hardship. He has acknowledged the responsibility, and he has promised, and he has asked me to tell the people of me that without him or with him and in him, Ghana will become Ghana again. This one too shall pass.
Residents are optimistic the Gbi traditional area would witness unprecedented developments under the leadership of Togbegan Gaabuisu VII. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Hohoe.
Well, adherents to the Catholic faith in the Wa municipality are in shock and are yet to come to terms with the death of Cardinal Richard Kuyabawober, who passed on in Italy. According to the staunch Catholics, the passing of Cardinal Richard is not only a loss for the Upper West region, but the country at large, as he is a champion of the poor, mentally challenged, and the girl child. Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam now reports from Wa.
Unusual deafening silence at the St. Andrew's Cathedral in Wa, we're told, it's been like this all morning. Our camera spotted from afar this lonely man seated few meters away from the entrance of the cathedral, head bowed down and wiping his teary eyes with a handkerchief. At exactly midday, the cathedral bell was swung and lasted for close to 3 minutes. Close to 3 dozen believers of the Catholic faith sounded into the cathedral. The mood inside the over 60-year-old cathedral was somber, and all eyes pointing at the man behind the pulpit, Reverend Father Barnabas, waiting for the reason why the bell was rung. Many may have heard and knew the reason already, but don't want to fall victim to fake news. Reverend Brother Barnabas gave a chronology of the event leading to the death of Cardinal Kuyabawober. The announcement is akin to a dagger that went through the heart of the flock. The chief shepherd for the Wa diocese was no more.
Richard Cardinal left with a group of delegation from our diocese here for Rome for the consistory which was to take place on 27th August. Unfortunately, we were greeted with the sad news that our bishop was not so well and he was taken ill and was put in a hospital. Of course, that gave a call to all of us to pray for him, and of course we intensified our prayer for him. On the 18th of November, we had some glimpse of hope when we heard that he was discharged from the hospital in which he was receiving treatment, and then he was at a general death of the firefighters. And with this news, we were very hopeful that he was going to join us very soon to celebrate this hallmark in his life. And on a few days ago, we celebrated our common jubilees on the 26th. And of course, our Vicar General told us that he was doing so well. And we are so very hopeful that very soon he will be joining us. Unfortunately for us yesterday, we are now all greeted with the sad news that at 6:25 p.m., our dear Cardinal passed on to eternity. Sad news, all of us, heartbreaking for all of us, but of course, we commend his soul unto the Lord, whom he saves so faithfully that God in his own mercy will raise him up, and one day, all of us will continue to join him in the heavenly kingdom.
Beards of tears started rolling from their eyes upon hearing the announcement. Some even got confused and did not know where the exit doors of the cathedral were. For Rita Olina, the death of Cardinal Richard Kuyabawober is a big blow, not only to the Wa diocese, but the country at large.
I've known Cardinal for quite a while, and he's a very good man. He's the reflection of Christ himself, and the faith he has is so deep-rooted that when you get close to him, you get settled. Last year, during the bishops' conference, he said, "Oh, Rita, I want to see you." And then I made time, I went, and we discussed a lot of things, especially concerning education and girl child education. He's somebody who has the poor and the less privileged at heart, the mentally challenged, the people that don't have families, people that are going through conditions that are not so good. Cardinal always said that he feels happy when others are happy because of him.
The mood at his official residence at St. Francis Xavier is not different. It looks like a ghost town. We bump into this Reverend Sister who was very courteous but refused to speak to us on the person of the Cardinal. The Catholic Church, for that matter, the Ward Diocese, is still shocked and yet to come to terms over the person of the Chief Shepherd. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wah.
And it is on that sad note that we wrap the news. But there's more coming your way as we serve you the news review. Do stay. Well, here we are for the news review, and we're joined by energy analyst Kojo Poku for this conversation. Kojo, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Again, I'll repeat, I am well under the circumstances. God's grace
You are
suffices for us.
more than well, Ben. You know what I mean? The system is working. I mean, you look around you, there's glass everywhere. What is it that you can't see? You're telling me you're well under the circumstances.
Kojo Poku, I will reserve my comments. Or as someone who say, I'll comment my reserve. But
When you go, one of these days, you should invite me onto your hard talk. We can do a session together.
Oh, okay. My blunt thoughts, eh? Okay, sure.
Oh, it's called Blunt Thoughts?
Yes, it is.
Yes, you should invite me onto your Blunt Thoughts, and we can do a session together. I will tell how well it's going, and you say how blunt and how hard it's going.
Okay, I'll take up that challenge. One of these days, we'll see what happens.
By the time I come out of your studio, there will be a mob outside to lynch me before I go home.
Well, good to have you, Kojo. It's been a full week. Lots of matters to reflect on. The fairy tale of the Black Stars we'll get to talk about because it's in the papers. But economically speaking, there have been a number of developments. We know, for example, that now there's the gold for oil situation. And some industry people have sounded a word of caution from the community mining scheme, from the Chamber of Mines. People have said, wait, look, this is not a bad idea. But so far, it's very gray. There are so many gray areas in terms of the implementation, in terms of what we look forward to. And if we don't get it right, it could be another good policy implemented in a bad way. That is one. Then we know about the 2023 budget and, the fallout from there, the e-levy, VAT, LEAP, and so many other aspects. And then we also have insurance premiums, third-party insurance premiums, which are set to go up shortly. What is your take on all of these? Because it appears in many ways the problem of the ordinary Ghanaian, economic problem, is only getting exacerbated. Quick takes on that before we get into the papers.
Well, yeah, I think from last week, when this story broke on the Facebook of the Vice President, most of us have sounded caution, and we have said, the industry experts and then the industry players have said that, one, there is no consultation. Two, nobody can implement something like that without time and proper consultation. I don't know where the government is going with this. It's not something that you play a role. If government was the one who buys fuel for the country, okay, then we can all sit back and say, okay, he's the one that buys the fuel. If he wants to pay the people who he buys the fuel from with gold, let's wait. As long as we are concerned, we wake up in the morning, we won't fall at our pumps. But if you look at the value chain, the government doesn't play any role. There's no role that the government plays. So we are surprised how he wants to now come and dictate how the transaction in that space is done, especially when he doesn't play any role. Unless we are going to wake up one morning and we hear that there's no more deregulation and the government is now going to buy fuel for everybody like the way Nigeria does it. So look, I have spoken greatly on this. We do not have the numbers in terms of the gold reserves that we need to do this transaction. Again, we are told that we want the Bank of Ghana to keep reserves. If we want the Bank of Ghana to keep reserves, then this transaction doesn't allow the Bank of Ghana to keep any reserves, because the amount of gold you need in a year to do this transaction is about 2.3 million ounces of gold that you need in a year to do this transaction, because our petroleum bill, and let me correct this, a lot of the times people are talking about crude oil, and it's not gold for crude oil, it's gold for petroleum products, okay? And the total bill we need every month for that is about $400 million. Multiply that by 12, you have 4.8. If you use the current gold price, which is about 1,741, then you do the maths, and the total gold you need in a year is 2.3 million ounces. If you add the community gold, the small scale gold, is about 1,264,000. Sorry, 1.2 million, 1.26 million. Okay, that's the amount of gold you have from the community and small scale. Then you have about 566,000 from the light scale mining. The 20% that the light scale mining will give is about 566,000. You add them all up, you have about 1.8 million, which is far short of the 2.3 you need to do this transaction. So what we are saying is that you can probably start in a way where you can do it with some companies that are prepared to bring products into the country and take gold. But you have to do this side by side, the existing traditional way. It means that thought of we are going to reduce dollar from the computation of our petroleum products, it's not possible. Because bear in mind, the gold that you are going to exchange, there's a value, there's a metric system.
Exactly.
You're going to have a value to value. So what is the scale that you're going to use to compute this amount of gold for this amount of oil? If that person brings you, let's say, 4.8 million worth of products, are you then going to say that, well, then here, this is 4.8 million worth of gold? The person might tell you, no, the gold you are giving me for me, what is the rate you are using? All those things come into play. So, yes, those are the minor issues that can be trashed out between parties. But the most important thing is that getting a buy-in into the policy. For now, we don't have a lot more. We don't have further and better particulars. So for me, I think that we should take caution, take it easy. Yes, it's an innovative idea, but like you said earlier, good ideas are normally implemented badly in Ghana. If you look at the third-party insurance, I think that it's about time that third-party insurance go up. If you look at the claims coming out of third-party these days, and you look at how much third-party insurance for cars are charged, then the insurance company are at a loss. Because now what is happening is that we are beginning to have class action in the industry, where if a trotro has a third party and the trotro is in an accident, what you are now seeing is that lawyers are going around mobilizing the passengers in the trotro and claiming for doing a class action for a third-party claim on the insurance company. And under the law, the insurance company has to pay those third parties for their losses and injuries. So it's about time that third-party insurance go up, because it's too low. And the claim that comes after when you have third parties is quite high. So it's in the right direction that third-party insurance should go up.
Well, actually, just before you go to the third issue, they are, the issues they put up were inflation and the cost of spare parts. Those were the major issues that they were putting forth.
By the insurance company or the people?
By the insurance companies. I mean, this is part of what we've seen.
Why insurance company are citing spare parts and inflation for third party claims. I mean, where do they come in with third party and insurance and inflation? Because if you underwrite an insurance policy for third party and the person gets into an accident, yes, you are going to, the way insurance is calculated per the value of the time when they don't give you the value of the insurance that you did. So let's say you have a car worth 200,000 and you do a third party insurance. If by the time that you get into an accident, they're not going to calculate insurance on 200,000. They calculate the insurance on the value of that car on the day
at that moment
of the accident. Yes. Okay. So then they now look at the cost involved in the accident and pay. But for me, I think their concern would have been, one, the rate of claim, and now the class actions that are coming after third parties. That, for me, I think will be the biggest concern for the insurance companies, not spare parts and inflation.
Well, let's proceed with the papers now. And we'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Kudos to Kudus. I love the way the Daily Graphic puts it. Kudos to Kudus.
They copied it from me. I did this last night. They have copied it from me. These people are copycats.
They copied from you.
Yes, because I can actually show you my posting last night. We said the KMP family is giving kudos to the Black Star. Now they have copied me.
But he said kudos to the Black Stars, and they are saying kudos to Kudus.
Yeah, but kudos, I came up with that kudos thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Kudus. You know, I told you I'm a rapper. That's my rhyme.
Can we do something with that? Can we do something else with that? One of these days, I'm going to put you on the spot, so you do something for us on air. And if it's good enough, maybe, unlike Nasty C, we'll arrange a collabo for you with Sarkodie. We just might do something. But anyway, So Ghana upsets South Korea and Uruguay is next. I'll be picking your quick thoughts on that. But right before that, Mohamed Kudus proved yesterday that he was the man for the big occasions, scoring twice as Ghana's Black Stars survived a second half scare to steal a deserved 3-2 victory over South Korea in the Group H clash at the Education City Stadium. It was a pulsating match, a tale of two halves as the Koreans fought back from a 2-goal deficit to cancel first half goals by Mohamed Salisu and Kudus, and pounded Ghana's goal area with incessant attacks that brought out the best from goalkeeper Lawrence Atizigi and some strong defending by the Ghanaians. However, it took another great strike by the gifted midfielder in the 68th minute to restore the lead with a winning goal. Now, yesterday, I'm sure most people found out that 10 minutes can be as long as eternity. I was sitting there behind the television, the idiot box, and my heart was in my mouth. I was sitting on tenterhooks. And those 10 additional minutes after, normal time had been exhausted, it was actually 10 minutes and 40 something seconds. And the referee did not allow the South Koreans to take a last corner. After all, it was over 10 minutes and all of that. But what do you make of the performance of our stars yesterday? And what ratings, I'm interested, would you give Mohamed Kudus, Jordan Ayew, Atizigi, our goalkeeper? How would you rate them?
10.
10 each.
Look, 10 each. Let me tell you something. When I saw the Ayew brothers on the pitch, I'm like, oh my God. Okay? My first reaction, I'll be honest with you, was, oh my God. Because you see, I honestly believe that the Ayew brothers have given a lot to Black Star. But some performances when the two of them have been on have not been so good. And we tend to now blame them for a lot of the things that go wrong in the Black Star. If you watch the match in Kumasi when we played the Super Eagles, everybody was chanting, change Ayew, change Jordan, change Ayew, So for me, I thought that, look, they are at the apex of their game. Really, this probably be their last World Cup. But we should bring them in at a time when they don't get too much blame for what goes wrong in the Black Star, because they might end their career being known for all the bad things they do, forgetting all the good things that they did and Jordan has done for the Black Star. So for me, the first thing I said is that, oh my God, But the way the crosses
that is basically not having one of them, but both of them on at the same time. That's what you're referring
to.
Right.
Exactly. So for me, that was like, but when I saw, look, they did now have started playing this holding midfield thing where he managed to get himself into the attacking midfield area, and as if he's trying to be a box-to-box player at his old age, which is a good thing. Then Ayew is now this winger who his crosses can never go wrong. And yesterday, everything just came together beautifully, okay? Kudos for me, I have only one word. I saw on social media the ladies in Ghana trying to start posting him and saying, wouldn't you wish your boyfriend is Kudos? Look, you guys stay away from our star player. We know what you guys do to these guys when they start doing well. We have names that we can mention that went wrong after they did well, and our ladies started.
Please let's not mention any of them.
I'm not, but let me now make the point. So the point is that, look, it was a beautiful game, especially the roller coaster, okay? It has everything in one game, where you go ahead, you jubilate, you silence your opponent, they come back, they silence you, then everybody is in tenterhooks, then we come back, then the 10 minutes was like, if you love football like we do and we watch the Premiership, even 3 minutes extra time is a problem. Now 10 minutes. And the Koreans found out that we were not too good in the air. So every ball they get, they will lob it in the air into the 18-yard box. And they felt like, let's now see who can jump better. But we dealt with it. We came out with a win. Now the revenge is on. Uruguay, let's bring it on and let's hope that we do much, much, much better against them. I'm just hoping that the coach will get a selection right. We have the men. The boys are brilliant. I think we have now assembled one of the best Black Star teams after the Asian Sule Apia era. I think we've now gotten another set of guys that are very good. Let's see what the coach will do against Uruguay, and let's put a strategy in place to basically beat them. It would be lovely to be in the next the knockout stages.
Now, there is also a danger that we ought to carefully look at, because the Uruguayans, they say a man who is down fears nothing. He's already down. They are down there with South Korea. I think they are the bottom side in Group H. And of course, they drew with the Koreans and they lost. They suffered another thumping to Portugal by 2-0. So it would mean for them that they would not just be trying to qualify. It would also be a matter of pride for them. Because where they are, if and God willing they don't, if they beat us, they also come on 4 points. And you realize that the South Koreans, if they down Portugal, could also come on 4 points. So it's very tricky for us. We would have to win to avenge our defeat.
Very tricky. It's a tricky group now. Look. They can be wounded. They can have all the ambitions, whatever. We have more axe to grind than they do. Going back to South Africa and what they did to us, okay? I think the Black Stars are going to do a lot. They have a lot of motivation. If you look at who has the best motivation, I think it's the Black Stars. I'm just praying that everything goes right, because we've gotten to realize that it's not about how well you play. It's about everything also coming together for you in football. In Portugal, we played very well, but in the last minute, we realized that certain things did not go well for us with the VAR and all these things. Yesterday, look, when God is on your side, everything works well. The VAR went in our favor. Everything went well. The boys played brilliantly. I'm hoping that they give their all. Then we don't get any injuries in training. They come on the park, and then the referees and the VAR also go on our side. Those are some of the things that has to come together for you to win a football match.
Well, there we have it. Let's move on to other stories. There are those who said that before Salisu played the ball, it had hit Ayew's hand. But we know in football as well, there was nothing he could do. It was a ball-to-hand situation. And then the ball was netted.
Let me explain that to you. It's not really about ball to hand anymore. It's about your hand being in a natural position.
Well, so that as well. That as well. It was not in a
hand. It can be a ball to hand, but if the hand is in an unnatural position,
Kojo, it's basically the same thing being said in a different way.
No, but if you say ball to hand is the old parlance we used to use, where you say ball to hand, where you did not move your hand towards the ball. But if your hand is in an unnatural position, yesterday there was a penalty for Portugal. When the guy was falling, and as a result of falling, the ball hit his hand, it was a penalty. So that one was not a ball to hand, but is on the hand in an unnatural position. So if you interpret the rule that way, it's easier.
But in one, we see the hand changing the course of the ball. But we can dilate on these. We'll leave the sporting people to do that. But the point is that it was viewed by VAR, and my heart was in my mouth. But thankfully, we got the goal, because if we hadn't, that could have proved. You know, in the first 15 minutes or so, I mean, I practically had to just be watching, peeping, watching, squinting, watching, because the pressure on us, it was just absurd. But anyway, we got the win, that famous win, and we're back on track. And for those who don't know, in the World Cup, we've never lost our second match, and we lived up to that billing. Debate on 2023 budget begins today, and pictured there, Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, majority leader, and Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader. There's also growing the economy, focus on tax enforcement, agro-industry, experts advise, and then Graphic Grader host biggest housing fair Thursday. For you, what are your crucial takeaways from the 2023 budget? Very quickly. I don't want to go into the story because it just brings back all of what we already know. But when people complain about the VAT rate, when they complain that while you're taking away the minimum threshold for the e-levy, you are slapping on, while you're reducing the percentage, you're slapping on this bit about taking away the threshold, which would not inure to the benefit of the poor. What do you think? And growing our economy, focusing on tax enforcement and the agro industry, is that the way to go? Your quick thoughts.
Well, yes. Growing the tax net has always been the mantra. We need to grow the tax net. For me, I didn't see the 2.5% increase in VAT coming. I thought in the situation that we find ourselves, a tax increase would have been another squeezing water out of the rock situation for us in the country. But look, the good thing, me and you discussed this about the 1%, the e-levy coming from the 1.5 to 1%. I don't know why people just don't listen. Okay, the finance minister, for me, just took a very difficult stance in the initial implementation of the e-levy, and finally did a U-turn and came to the 1% that we all advise that he does. I think we've done 9 months of the service to Ghanaians, but hey, better late than never. It's a good thing that it's 1%, and yes, the threshold didn't really make sense. But there is some loopholes in the e-levy, the way the merchants and everybody calculates this e-levy. I think in the coming months, the government should sit down and take a hard look at the system and be able to now collect the 1% better. I don't think that it is being implemented by the merchants and all the people that use the e-levy well. When you now send the money, you know, the telcos have the technology in place to be able to collect their 1%. We need to have technology in place to be able to collect our 1%. What I have always suggested is that we need to have a platform, a universal platform on which all the telcos and mobile money, all the e-transact, every electronic transfer will sit. Nobody is listening. But again, in the long run, we'll come to that. If you have that, then you can sit back and let that platform dictate every money that is for you, and then you take it from that platform. Now we are relying on the telcos technology to calculate and give us our money. For me, I think that doesn't work well, because they will look after their money, they will look after your money. So the government needs to invest in a platform on which all electronic transfers, mobile money, everything sits. Then from there, you can basically deduct what is yours and what is not. In terms of the taxes to grow agro, look, let me say this, and me and you discussed the Ministry of Trade issue the other time, and everybody is taking aim at me that, hey, I mean, you don't understand, and Trade Ministry, what have they done? When agriculture is only responsible for technology in growing products and the whole community in the farm. When the produce are grown and gets to the farm gate, from that point, it's trade. Because it's no longer an agric matter. We are always making it look like Ministry of Trade is only into industries and stuff like that. It's not true. That is why it's called Ministry of Trade and Industry. Okay, so there is the industry added to Ministry of Trade, but trade in its own is the multifaceted sector. If in the energy sector, refinery, if Tema Oil Refinery refines crude oil and they get the kerosene, petrol, and diesel, when the product is leaving the refinery, it is trade.
Right.
So almost everything from when you exit the technology, the rest is trade. Okay, so if we want to grow this economy, I have always said that the two most important ministry is finance and trade.
Okay.
But people are coming at me trying to make it look like, oh, why are you talking about Ministry of Trade as if you have an agenda? I don't have an agenda. My only agenda is to say the truth.
All right.
Ministry of Trade is becoming very ineffective.
Okay. In other stories, of course, I don't know whether you saw that Vincent Abubakar chip that some have said is the goal of the tournament, though some say Richarlison's goal, the Brazilian, in their first match, the side Caesar kick, if you like, is the one with the icing on the cake. Did you see that goal by Vincent Abubakar, the Cameroonian player?
No, I did not.
Okay, you should check it out then. But I'm going to lump together about 3 stories from different papers for you to react to. The first one, excesses of democracy, must Council of State be scrapped? Here's the interesting bit. This is an opinion shared by Kobi Asma. Recently, we heard former President Kufuor say that we should have a second chamber and attach the Council of State. Yesterday, I had Nana Dr. SKB Asante here with me. He's launching his book today. And I asked him, he actually said that some of what they put together, as he headed that expert committee on our 1992 Constitution in 1991, was the proposition, some of these propositions about a second chamber and all of that. And he, in some way, agrees with former President Kufuor. What is your take on that? Just hold. Let me add these 2 stories. The Ghanaian Times newspaper. Support government to revive economy. Mahama urges Ghanaians. And that story is on page 7. He has called on Ghanaians to join hands in the government's effort to put the economy back on track. This, he said, was the only way the country's economy could be saved from the imminent collapse staring at it. And I noticed today, the Ghanaian Times, I don't know about the editing, but imminent is rendered as eminent, and staring is with a double R. So the team editing the Ghanaian Times newspaper, please look at that. There's also reject portion of budget inimical to workers' welfare. That's according to the TUC. The story is on page 17. Let me just give you some scope to that. Now, members of the Trades Union Congress have called on the leadership of the organization to reject portions of government's 2023 budget statement, which they described as being inimical to the welfare of workers. They cited the freeze on employment in the public and civil services, removal of the threshold on e-levy transactions, tax waivers for businesses in agricultural imports, increase of VAT by 2.5%, among others. Quick reactions to these stories.
Well, yeah, the TUC will always come out and try to fight for their interests, but what they should realize is that there's only a small pot that everything can come out of. We should do burden sharing when it comes to these instances. The unfortunate part is that when the TUC in certain instances tell the politicians that they should watch what they are doing because we should all do burden sharing, the politicians don't listen. But now it is time that they will tell TUC to let's help and do burden sharing. But I think this is not the time for TUC to be making demands. This is not the time for TUC to basically coming out and oppose certain things. We need to get the economy back on its feet, and in good times, we can all share the spoils that come up. For me, the second chamber, we live in a country where there are excesses. Everybody is complaining about the executive arm and then the parliamentary arm of government having excesses, and they are not doing what they are sent there to do. For me, if we think that the Council of State is not needed, creating a second chamber would go to infuriate Ghanaians even more, because I don't know what that second chamber is going to do. In the UK, where they have that system, for me, it doesn't even, it's just a historical something they have. So they are stuck with it historically. But if we want to deepen democracy in Ghana, creating a second chamber now in Ghana will not deepen our democracy. What are they going to object to? And what are they going to... So look, I think that we tend to look at certain things. The kind of people that we appoint to the Council of State, the role that they have and the remuneration that comes with the Council of State. If we think that these things are not working well, let's reform it.
Okay.
Let's look at the kind of people that goes to the Council of State. Let's look at stripping some of the remuneration if we think that is excessive. Okay. And then let's try and look at the role they play. If we are going to deepen their role in terms of being, or maybe we could go on to say that there can be the number of the elected position in the Council of State is increased as opposed to the appointed.
Right.
Okay. Because as it stands now, we do elect people to the Council of State. So for me, creating a second chamber is only going to infuriate Ghanaians. Looking at the deep-seated dissatisfaction of Ghanaians towards the way Parliament works and other executive arm of government.
Okay. Let's wrap with a few stories. I'll let you know which ones I want you to dilate on. The Daily Dispatch says use of gold is specifically for oil imports. Ghana will save the $3 billion it spends on oil imports. That's according to Vice President Bawumia. It also says wire converting exam leakages. You can check out the story from the Daily Dispatch. National carrier to be called Ghana Airlines. That's a story in the graphic business. But now I want you to react to this one. Debt restructuring. Eurobond holders face 30% cut. T-bill investors exempt. That's the first one. Then Economy Times, 93 billion Ghana cedis added to public debt due to cedi depreciation. And the Daily Guide, I found this interesting. Expect economic recovery soon. That's according to Vice President Bawumia. You have less than a minute to react to those and we're gone.
I don't know how they are going to do the Eurobond 30% haircut for Eurobond holders. I don't look. Sometimes we say certain things in this country. You have to go and negotiate. We are talking about private investors. You are going to go to the Euro market and tell the Eurobond investors, those holding your coupon, that you're going to give them a 30% haircut. Good luck to them in that negotiation. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but look, it's not something you can enforce. They have to look mercifully on you and say if they will do it or not. So it's not something that you can ask, you can request and beg for them to do for you, because private investors, it's not like Ghana where we are now being told certain things that's going on in the investment. In the Eurobond, it will dent your credibility and it will basically go against you in future market roadshows.
Right.
If you look at the Ghana, I don't know why somebody wants to still do a national carrier. Really and truly, I don't think we learn from history. Why are we still trying to do a national carrier in Ghana? Every country that has done it has run into problems. We can go down the list and we will find out which has now existed. So South Africa, they should go and ask South African airline the problems that they are having. So honestly, I think we should stop this fantasy thing there. We still want to have a national carrier. It's not going to help us. It's going to run the country into further debt, as it has done in almost all the countries that have national carriers.
Okay.
What was the last one?
So 93 billion added to our public debt owing to the depreciation of the Ghana cedi. Just a few words on that.
We've always said that if you don't man the economy well, and you depreciate your currency, it goes both ways. You basically add onto your debt because now you need more cedis to be able to go and pay on the interest that you owe in the foreign land. So we need to make sure that we do prudent policies that will sustain the economy, save money, stop the borrowing, improve on other sectors to improve on your revenues that you mobilize. And then we look at local solutions. We've been talking and not doing the do-dos.
Well, thank you, Kojo, for joining us for this conversation. Always insightful. I wish you the best of the day, sir.
Thank you, sir. How are you, Ben? And have a lovely day.
All right. Thank you so much, Kojo Poku. And that's how we wrap the news review. But coming up, we have a lot coming your way in sports. You should have seen the celebration, the jubilation, and the ecstasy, basically, in Qatar and here in Ghana as the Black Stars dispatched the South Koreans yesterday. I've seen some images of Son Heung-min weeping and all of that. I don't know how real they are, but you can understand him. We feel for him. But Charlie, we needed that win. We thank God for that. More in sports coming up right now on the AM show. Do stay.
And so second game excellence in tournament continued for the Black Stars of Ghana, and the whole world saw our stars beam again as they were able to get the best out of South Korea. And other matches that came on in our group, we see how Portugal also fared against Uruguay. There's a lot to talk about the morning after the Black Stars of Ghana got their first win at the ongoing FIFA World Cup 2022 tournament in Qatar. My name is Abigail Sanasosu, and thank you for joining us this morning for AM Sports. So, like we were saying, the Black Stars are now second in Group H after they bounced back to winning ways against South Korea in their second game. A brace for Mohamed Kudus and another for Mohamed Salisu saw Otuado's side pick up their first points at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. And after that game, the Education City Stadium in Doha was electrifying with some manic moments. But amongst all of that, George Ado Jr. was a part of it, and he has put together this report.
Very, very, very interesting game here at the Education City Stadium. The Black Stars in the last 10 minutes were probably having to play for their lives because a loss in this game meant that Ghana was knocked out of the competition even before the final game. Two important goals from Mohamed Salisu and Mohamed Kudus in the first half put the Black Stars up in front. Another goal from Mohamed Kudus ensured that the Black Stars led this game by 3-2. But of course, a momentary lapse of concentration saw them concede two quick-fire goals, which has been almost a characteristic of this game and the game against Portugal. But in the end, the Black Stars managed to prevail. Mohamed Kudus' brace and that wonderful goal by Mohamed Salisu ensured that the Black Stars are going home with all 3 points. It's been an absolutely tight game, but there's even more to come in terms of the next opponent. Ghana will play against Uruguay on Friday, and the job is to go out there and get what they need to qualify. Very, very exciting scenes with the fans speaking a lot about what's happened here, plus wonderful contributions from the likes of Mohamed Salisu and Jordan Ayew in particular, whose inclusion on the team caused a number of murmurs, among a lot of fans. But in the end, it was a powerful performance, and the Black Stars have gone home with all 3 points. We'll look forward to the next game and hope the Black Stars can actually qualify to the round of 16 here in Qatar. George Ado Jr. reporting from the Education City Stadium, where the Black Stars have just picked 3 points and are looking good to qualify to the next stage of the competition.
We stay in Doha, Qatar Education City Stadium to be precise, where all these fans found their voices after the Black Stars of Ghana scaled past South Korea in that 3-2 all-important game. Some of the fans got talking to us through George Ado Jr.
This is a nerve-wracking game, man. Come on. I just don't know what to say. I'm lost of words. I mean, it was a very exciting game. Even though it was nerve-wracking, I guess the guys did real well. They did good. They've really done us proud. And come on, kudos to the boys. We couldn't have expected this match. But hey.
How tough was it to watch this game?
Mate, nerve-wracking. I mean, so nervous, the pressure was immense, but the boys showed that they had character, they were resilient, they were able to hold their own, and we're super proud of them, super proud of them. Wow!
Right, tell me how nervy was this? How nervy was this game?
The game was incredible, man, but I have to say, I hate that we had to struggle to beat Korea. We should have locked this game down in the second half, but we didn't. But hey, great game for the guys. They played fantastic, Charlie. I love how they played.
That's right.
And honestly, George, I think we need to know how to keep a clean sheet. We can definitely throw games away like this. I mean, supporters are supportive of the team, but come on, if we're going to play like this, seriously, this is something.
That's right. How nervy was this game? How nervy was this game?
It was nerve-wracking, it was nerve-wracking. It was a tough game, but I'm glad we sailed through.
How did you manage through the final minutes? Was it easier?
They threw the kitchen sink at us, but we repelled all the missiles that came through.
Yeah,
good game, I must say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How did you see the game?
Oh, the game is good. The game is good. The game is good. The game is good.
So all of those emotions, all of those great moments did not just end at the Education City Stadium. It trickled down to the last person in the capital, up north, south, wherever in the country. And we get a report to see how fans back at home also reacted to that win by the Black Stars of Ghana yesterday. And my colleague Clinton Yeboah also has this report for us.
Words cannot explain how excited Ghanaians are. After 90 plus 10 minutes of vigorous action, the Black Stars came out successful and victorious. Let's engage some of the jubilating Ghanaians.
It's never. I am sure me because my viat as a Ghana. I'm watching to me as a first one. Then we need but BBC, but where's the dear? Yes, we can't do that now.
I'm speaking for, let me say, I'm speaking for all Ghanaians. From the blast of the whistle, I know every Ghanaian's heart was in fire. Because, you see, beginning for the first 20 minutes, the Koreans outplayed us. But we came in the next like 10 minutes, and later it was worse. After scoring 2 goals, you sat down for these Koreans to equalize. I wish we go for a break for like say 10 years, have a project, train these guys very well, so that subsequently we can go to World Cup and perform very well. But this performance does not warrant World Cups. We'll lose our next match. We'll lose.
The Ghanaians went in very well with the game plan, control the tempo of the game, calm down, press, and then go after the game when the need be, and it was fine. I think the most important aspect of the game was set pieces, and I knew that set piece was going to be very key for us, and we did that. But then our biggest problem in the game was when we scored 2-0, came into the second half, considered 2 quick goals like we did against Portugal. That shouldn't have happened, but then again it happened. Going forward, we need to focus when we score goals and prevent conceding goals just in 3 minutes. It's not good. But generally, I think it was a good performance. It was a hearty performance, and kudos to the boys. But we still need to go into that with extra heart, with a proper game plan, different from what we did against the South Koreans, and then be more focused. We've conceded in the Portugal game 2 goals in 5 minutes. This time, 2 goals in 3 minutes. We don't need to repeat that because maybe we'll not be third time lucky. So we need to be very, very careful, but then going with a good game plan. Kudus, Pate, Salisu, everybody was excellent today.
But now go play DH. What dear a chip or a profi. I'm winning. I'm happy. God. Tears of joy.
From Kumasi, reporting for JoyNews, Clinton Yeboah.
Of course, you can afford to shed some tears of joy because the Black Stars, of course, in their first 3 points at the tournament. But we get to speak to Gary Al Smith, who is also in Doha, Qatar, with the Black Stars, and can tell us the mood after in the preparations ahead of our third and final game in the group stages. Gary, if you can hear me, good morning. Hello, Gary.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
I can hear you. It's good to hear your voice this morning. Okay, so the morning after the Black Stars of Ghana got their all-important 3 points from our second game against South Korea, the second game-winning syndrome has continued in this tournament. Is it sheer luck, or we had to work hard at it?
Well, you don't get streaks like that. Good morning, first of all.
Yeah.
You don't get streaks like that by sheer luck, Abigail. I mean, they had to work for it, and we saw what people in Qatar in the stadium and people in Kumasi also thought of it. The word nerve-wracking kept being repeated by those who were interviewed by George, and that is exactly what it was. For the neutral, we spoke to some neutrals after the game, and for them it was brilliant entertainment. George was making a joke yesterday that right now, if FIFA is selecting games where they will put their best cameramen or script writers, they will come to Ghana games because Ghana games are proving to be, blockbuster entertainment. But for Ghanaians, Ghanaians don't want that. It's too it's too crazy for Ghanaians at the moment. It's too heart-stopping for Ghanaians at the moment. And when we calm down, Abigail, when everybody calms down, I think that the introspection has to be done so that the very avoidable concession of goals will be stopped, will be stopped. So yeah, that's what it is.
I was really getting to that because two things quickly. Ahead of this game, we spoke about how swift this Koreans would be, and so we saw that there were some changes, especially to our laterals in this game. And first of all, how would you rate our players? And at the rate at which we are conceding already, we're talking about 10 goals in 2 games. We have 5 for ourselves and 5 against us.
I think that it will be difficult to fault the players much, Abigail. I think most people will agree that our coaching has a bit of work to do. But as for the players, there are very few players in the team at the moment who you can pick out and single out for not delivery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that it's obviously a coaching problem. I mean, the timing of the substitutions and how it affects the team is something that comes down to the coaching. Something must be said by the coaching staff to the boys that when we make subs, please ensure that the momentum is not lost. And however it is that they do it, I mean, that's why they are the coaches. So that's all I can say at the moment, that something has to be done between now and Friday, because Uruguay also have a certain strength that they would, put forward.
Okay.
Abigail, aren't we even lucky that the Koreans told us in their press conferences what they were going to do? They mentioned what our weaknesses were.
Yes, they did. They did.
They mentioned what our weaknesses were, and they told us that we were going to focus on these weaknesses of yours. And like, you are going to exams and you have been given the areas ahead of time and you don't learn. What do you expect?
Well, they gave us their point. We used it wisely and precisely, I should say. But talking about conceding and manning that defense, one player that has been a part of our Black Stars squad that went to the World Cup in 2010 and 2014, Samuel Lincoln, who is currently with Accra Hearts of Oak, has joined us on the phone. Sammy, it's good to hear from you this morning. Sammy, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Yourself?
Well, I'm not bad at all.
I'm sure it was a moment of reminiscing when you were watching that game yesterday against South Korea. For you, how do you think your colleagues performed for the Black Stars?
To be honest, it was an amazing feeling yesterday. I enjoyed watching the team. They played very good. I was so happy. And the last time I spoke about this team is that the last friendly game they played against Switzerland. If you see how the players are disciplined on the pitch, I was so happy. That is why I have so much confidence in this team that they will go far. Yesterday, you can see everybody in Ghana was so excited. Yeah.
Let's talk about that department that you were a part of and continue to play for Accra for giving back at home. People have said that maybe our defense have not been that strong to have shipped in 5 goals, and also we have also scored 5 at the other end. What do you make of your department in our team?
I think Gary said something which was very good. We have to find a way and means work on it, the backroom staff, I mean, the technical team are doing so well. They are doing very well, but we have to make sure that we don't concede. Sometimes it's just a lack of concentration. Like first half was very good, like this Korea game. So second half took it that we won already. But this kind of tournament is the highest level in terms of football. If you lose a little bit concentration, you'll be panicked. So we have to make sure that and I know the coaching staff will work on it, but we have to be extra careful about our defense. The boys have done very well.
Okay, Sammy, before you take leave of us, we have our last game on Friday against Uruguay. What are your expectations?
I think this game is going to be one of the best games in the tournament, in my opinion. Because, you know, we went 2010, we saw what happened, and every Ghanaian is ready to watch this game.
Okay.
I believe in this guy, but I know that it's not going to be easy. First of all, we have to put this win yesterday. We have to put it at the back of our head. That we don't need to too much enjoy. You understand? Because this game on Friday is going to be a game that whether you are going to continue the tournament or not.
Yeah.
So we have to do everything possible. We have to do everything. But to be honest, I trust these guys, and I know they are going to deliver.
Thank you very much, Sammy, for allowing us some time this morning. Gary, before you take leave of us, we know there should be an itinerary for the team today. Are they only resting, or later in the day there's something to do?
In the last game against Portugal, what they did was, we have not been given as the press at the moment, but what they did was they had a light training session where those who play.
Gary, we can hear you. Go on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Gary, we can hear you. Go on.
Okay, I'm assuming that you can hear me. Those who played in the game against Portugal were taken through a light training session, and then those who did not play had a training session. So I assume that's what's going to happen. Between now and Friday, at some point, there's going to be a press conference. I don't know whether the Black Stars will organize one themselves for, you know, the media here before the officially sanctioned FIFA one. But yeah, there'll be training. We will go there and we'll bring you reports of what we see. What I will say is a few things that we should note. Mohamed Kudus has become the first player in the history of Ghanaian football to score 2 goals in a single World Cup game. That is massive. A Tottenham Hotspur player, Matt Doherty, has already said to his team, and he said it publicly, that they should go for Mohamed Kudus because he's what the team needs. The European scouts are going crazy about Ghana's number 20, and he's only 22 years old. He's got 2 goals in this tournament already and 1 assist, and the sky is really his limit. Mohamed Salisu, remember, has also scored 2 goals in 3 games. Yeah. And you have to watch Abigail. This is food for thoughts for you and for those who are watching. Ghana spent 2 years almost begging Mohamed Salisu to come and play for the Black Stars. The question is, do we now think it was and it is worth the wait?
So much worth the wait if you ask me, but I have a personal message for him. I'll get it through to you later. But I'm sure we'll get to speak to you again later as the competition wears off. Do take care of yourself and continue to give us the very best from Doha, Qatar. And so, back at home, unfortunately, we would have to cross over to Kantamanto, where we are told there's a fire outbreak. My colleague, Papani, is there live to give us what exactly is going on. But there's more sports during midday, and later on, we'll bring a commentary on Joy FM. We hand over to Papani in Kantamanto now. Thank you.
And that around 4 a.m., there was a distress call to the Ghana Fire Service, and they've come here for some rescue efforts here. So you can see in your shots, at least 200 radios here in Kantamanto has already been raised to the ground. The Ghana Fire Service is also on the ground to assist them, in trying to douse the fire. Currently, we understand that the fire has spread from its original position to where you currently see it here, but these are thick fumes from the fire incident here at Kantamanto. This is a market that is well known to be very busy, irrespective of the time of day, busy from the dawn to the wee hours of the next day again. So clearly you have thousands of people as inhabitants again, 100 more thousand people who come here on a daily basis to shop, to buy items. I mean, you can find anything at all from Kantamanto. Yeah, so it's a huge market comparing its size to the market. It's one of Ghana's biggest markets, probably a thrift market as well. These are live pictures of fire in this particular market, and the smoke, I dare say, very, very thick here, even difficult to actually breathe. I'll try to bring you a conversation with some of those who were here when it began. But the PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service is with me. He'll try to walk us through some of the efforts that they've been trying to put across here. But again, you can see thick fire, and the wind doesn't seem to be doing the Ghana Fire Service any good at all by blowing this hard. It's making it very difficult again to put it across. But a lot of fire tenders, I can confirm, are already around. Let me give you that picture before we speak to the Ghana National Fire Service here. So we understand that the fire started somewhere at the back there when it further spread to this area, to where you are seeing, and then now to the latest area where they are trying to battle here. So it's a serious battle between the Ghana National Fire Service and the fire at Kantamanto. And the Ghana National Fire Service is trying with all effort and all its fire tenders in the Greater Accra region to try and calm this fire down. But the PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service is with me now. So you can see exactly the efforts that they are putting into getting this fire calmed down. Please, sir, please, what's your name once again?
ADO1 Louis Komnapak. I'm the Deputy Regional Accra PR. I'm not the National PR. I'm the Deputy Regional Accra PR.
Great. So, I mean, walk us through the incident from your perspective of the Ghana National Fire Service.
So, at 4:35, we had a distress call of an outbreak of fire at the Kantamanto area. So, we got here 6 minutes later, and we realized that the fire had gotten to an advanced stage, meaning it was rapidly spreading. So, we called for assistance, and at about 7 fire engines were dispatched to come and augment firefighting efforts. But as you know, the Kantamanto area, access to the base of the fire has been an issue to us. But we are still fighting with collaboration with the Ghana Police Service. We are here with our tankers. We are doing our best. Yes.
So you have 7 fire tenders here on the ground.
Yes.
Okay. And how many more are you hoping to use to tackle this fire?
We have 2 more. One coming from Abu-Baidoo and another one coming from the Nungwa area.
I see. Great. Now let's talk about the fire itself. What's your initial assessment of what the situation?
Right now, anything that will be seen will be based on speculations, because when we got to the scene, as I told you, we realized the fire has started and it was spreading. And from the reports we had, some were saying someone was cooking and all that, but please, it's purely speculation. We don't want to stand on any speculations.
Okay. Yes. So let's talk about facts, though. I mean, how widespread is this fire?
Oh, right now you can see that it involves multiple shops, more than 300 shops right now. Yes, and we have some of the things have been salvaged. As you can see, if your cameraman can pan to the place, we have some of the things salvaged, but other shops have their wear damaged. That's what I'm saying. Very soon the fire will be under control.
Very soon. So, I mean, estimating the kind of fire that you have here, how long should it take you?
For now, I would not like to put any time limit on it. Currently, we have the chief fire officer on the grounds, meaning how you can see how seriously we have taken the situation. We have about more than 60 men also on the ground. So, very soon, I would not like to speculate, but very soon, the fire will be under control.
Okay, great. So, that's some assurance from the Ghana National Fire Service here. But again, this is not the first time Kantamanto is in such a situation here. And there have been several conversations about restructuring the area, looking at power lines, or even probably even taking the market out of the place in its entirety. I mean, what do you make of such plans that have been made, or such comments have been made in the past?
I think the Kantamanto issue has to take a holistic dimension, because we have various stakeholders involved in this place. So I think a long-term measure should be put in place. As you are saying, it's becoming a ritual that almost every year or something we have fires at Kantamanto. Ghana National Fire Service, personally, we make sure that we come here to take inspections. We have education here, but as you can see, fire is inevitable. But as you are saying, we need a holistic approach to how to deal with the Ghana National, with the Kantamanto fire. Sorry, yes.
Thank you very much. So that's a Deputy PRO for the Greater Accra region of the Ghana National Fire Service here. So, I mean, these are live pictures from Kantamanto again. There's a fire incident here Even some residents are helping with the efforts of the Ghana National Fire Service in trying to douse the fire. Some of them have decided to fetch water to help them. Even as they attended, some of them go and get some more water here. I mean, looking at salvaging situation here, we can see some individuals rolling away some of their goods that were in some shops very close to the fire. I mean, I can confirm that, at least from what the Ghana National Fire Service is telling us, that more than 300 shops have been affected. And this particular incident, it's even becoming very teary for me. So the smoke is quite thick here. I will try to bring you some more details of what exactly is happening here. So, I mean, we can't go any closer because of the thickness of the smoke that is here. And again, the condition that it puts us also in, including personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service. I'm even teary. My nose is watery at this moment, making it difficult to even breathe at this moment. But we'll continue to bring you some more of this. So the fire started from here all the way there. The efforts to try to douse the fire is ongoing at the other end here. So, I mean, you've heard from the Ghana National Fire Service, 7 tenders on the ground, with an expectation to add 2 more tenders to the efforts that they are putting into making sure that this fire is brought under control here. So, for people on this side of Kantamanto, they are only praying and hoping that the fire does not spread this far. You can see the quantum of items that is here in packages that have been put together. So these ones are called bales, and their prayer is only that the fire does not finish consuming this building and come to them. They have nowhere to go because this is the only storage area they have for this year. So very, very close to the fire now. You can see effort by men of the Ghana National Fire Service who are on the ground trying to bring this fire under control. So, Abigail, we are still in the studio. So these are the updates that we have. The fire continues to travel with the wind traveling. I beg your pardon, with the wind adding to the bad situation, the terrible situation that it already is helping the spread of the fire. The Ghana Fire Service only will get a tougher challenge in trying to bring this fire under control here, but they continue to try their very best to do this. 7 fire tenders on the ground. We'll try to bring you an eyewitness and some comments from some of the affected shop owners, but in total we understand that more than 250 shop owners have been affected. I mean, so we've been joined by some of the people within the Kantamanto community of Eson. They'll tell us, what's your name?
My name is Yao.
Yao, okay, Yao. You were here when it started?
Yes, it started around 4:30 to 5. But actually, was just a queue that we doesn't know what happened. And just burn all this area.
Wow. So that's around 4:30 to 5. Where did it exactly start from? Can you point us to that?
No, we started from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In that area, what is it called?
Okay. This place, I don't know that area.
Okay. So you're telling us that the fire started from around that place.
Yes.
So how did they get here eventually?
No, because of the air. Okay. Yeah, that produced that fire.
I see. So how long have you been living here as well, Yao?
11 years.
You've been living here for 11 years. Is this the first fire?
No, I've been 3 times. Yes.
3 times.
Last 2 years, the same thing happened for a year.
I see. Great. So now to walk us through the series of events that happened. So when the fire incident started, I mean, what did the people around do?
We were just calling the fire service to be coming, but they were not able to come.
I see. I mean, how long did it take them to get here?
Let's go about 1 hour time.
Yeah. I'm told that the response time was within 10 minutes. They were already here.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. That time they came here, that the fire was even kept here. Okay. Yeah.
I see. So by the time they got here, the fire was already in this particular building. Yes. When it started on the wall before it.
Yes.
I see. But how many people do you know have an estimation of how many people live here?
No.
Like plenty?
Yes.
Wow. I see. But where exactly did you live? Has it affected your shop?
No, I was just helping my uncle.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. Great. I'm only glad that it didn't affect you. Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, who else was here when the fire actually started? Yeah, so I'll try and hand over to the studio pretty soon. But you were here when it started as well. Yeah. I mean, what happened? How long did it take the Ghana Fire Service to get here?
Oh, the fire started around 3 to 4. But when they called the fire service, they were not able that time. They were not able to come that time. Around 5 when they came here.
Were you in there when it started?
No, I was. Our goose is here. We used to sell strippers and cakes at Red Canton with the same shoes. So our goose is here. You come and remove it. Here's our goose.
I see. So this place is not where you actually do the selling. This is the storage area.
Yeah. Yes.
Great. Let me thank you very much. I didn't get your name.
My name is Salif Abibulai.
Okay. Thank you very much. So whilst you're trying to wrap up here, these are frantic efforts, the latest efforts by the Ghana National Fire Service to douse the fire here at Kantamanto. We'll try to hand over to the studio. We're bringing you some more updates as and when it happens. But 7 fire tenders on the ground with 200 shops already burnt down by the raging fire at Kantamanto. For JoyNews, Michael Ashale.
And that was my colleague, Michael Papani Ashale there, reporting, giving us the scoop on that sad development, breaking story of the fire outbreak in Kantamanto. We'll be back with more on that situation and the other stories that we're delving into. We're talking the economy this morning, what investment options are available to you in these tricky economic times. And we'll also be talking later on about insurance premiums that are going up. What do we do? Stay with us for all that action as we get into our big stories after the break. Right, so here we go talking about the economy and basically investments and what we can do in these times. Well, joining us for that conversation, we have Palgrave Wache Dankwa, government spokesperson on security and social, on security and governance, actually, governance and security. We also have Dr. Richmond Etiahene, a banking consultant, joining the conversation for now. Let me just say a very good morning to you, Dr. Etiahene. Thank you for joining the conversation. Hello, Doc. All right, we'll try to get the connection right with Dr. Etiahene. Palgrave, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Very good morning to you, Benjamin, and it's good to be here.
It's good to see you again. Your fugu is resplendent.
Thank you very much.
It looks very nice.
I'm preparing for Farmers Day on Friday.
All right. Dr. Etiahene, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
A very good morning to you. Hope you're well.
Good morning, sir. Good morning to your cherished listeners and viewers.
Great. Now, you're a banking consultant. Let me start the conversation off from a bit of the economy before we get into some of those means we can use to keep body and soul together in these telling economic times. What do you make, though, of the recent budget statement that was presented in Parliament from the standpoint of
it looks a bit better, but it could have been the best.
Okay, so let me just conclude on this point. The budget in terms of the e-levy, VAT, leap, because we just saw, I don't know whether you were watching JoyNews, some people depend on this for sustenance. What do you make of the budget from that angle?
Yeah, from the e-levy point, when they started implementing the e-levy, I told them that countries have practiced it and they have failed because the way they work their calculations, that if you do this, you get that. You know, in Latin, we say cetribus paribus, all things being equal. All things are not equal. So I started saying that, why don't you peg it at 0.75 to start with? And when it becomes acceptable, then you escalate it to say 1%. Then finally you get to. But here, nobody listens. When you say it, they think, where other countries, about 4 countries in Africa, started the way we started, and they failed. So for me, from the EV levy point, the starting point was a bit of a failure because they did not listen to what other countries have done. So now that they are scaling it down to 1%, I don't know whether people will be prepared to do the transaction and pay the fee. So for me, it is like you had an opportunity, you missed it, now you want to come back to it. I don't know how it's going to work and how it's going to improve the revenue side of the budget.
Right. And so there are tricky bits to look at there as far as those components are concerned. But when you pick those two variables, the e-levy and VAT, e-levy being reduced by 0.5 percentage points, but with the threshold gone, and VAT being increased by 2.5%. I'd just like to find out from you, on a general scale, do you feel this will impact the poorest of the poor even worse? Taking into account that, as we've been told, over 14 million Ghanaians are multidimensionally poor. The World Bank tells us over 1 million plus Ghanaians have fallen into poverty, and the Ghana Statistical Service also reverberates saying, does it only worsen the plight of the poor and maybe the middle class in our country?
I did not hear your first statement. Can you please go over it? The line is a bit faint, please.
So I'm talking about the e-levy and VAT and the differences, so the variables when it comes to 2.5% more on VAT and the e-levy, though it has been reduced in percentage terms, the threshold being taken off. And I'm linking that to the 14 million plus multidimensionally poor in Ghana and what this could mean for the poorest of the poor.
With the increase in the VAT, I mean, the poorer is going to get poorer. It's going to get poorer because to push it to 20, from I think the current state of 17.5 to 20%, it's going to make things very, very hard in the year 2023. Things are not going to get better at all, and it's going to be tough for the average Ghanaian, especially with inflation trajectory looking a bit ahead. The inflation is not going to come down. So if you have inflation of about 40%, 40% at now, and it shoot up to about 54, it's not going to get better because we should have looked at this and say that, do we want to protect the vulnerable and the poor? Unfortunately, we just slam it up and say, let us project it and get the revenue. For me, it's going to create a lot of hardship for the poor and the vulnerable in the society.
So in terms of what would alleviate the burden of the poor, I also know that many are going to essentially get to benefit from the LEAP program, for example. A positive step, right? What are the positives for you from the 2023?
Yeah, the positive side of the budget for me was some of the cost measures put in place. But I believe the cost measures should go further than what we have. Because you see, if you're going to do, the literature has proved that if you want to do a debt restructuring, especially domestic debt restructuring, you should always pay attention to your cost reduction. Because if your cost is very high and you do the debt, it goes contrary to the issues. So in other jurisdictions, what they do is that they ensure that the cost reduction is effective. Because why I say it's not effective is that everybody is talking about the numbers of the ministers, the numbers of this. We should subject ourselves to critique to find out that is it important to have so many things. While the economy, we are being supposed, the poor and the pension are supposed to tighten our belts. I mean, they should tighten their belts better. Other than that, the V8 monitoring and all these things is not going to be effective. The best thing as Armani did his work, and he said, we need to look at that. And when we do that, people will know, Ghanaians will know that we are serious in even intended debt restructuring. But as it is, it's just like a half cake or a half baked budget. So people will just say, but you're not cutting your budget, you are not cutting your expenses, you are just making some analysis and doing this. But we should be very effective. Austerity, when there is austerity, the austerity budget is about cost cutting and effective expenditure control. Once you do that, Ghanaians will see that, look, let us all tighten our belts and when we do that, maybe 2-3 years, which will be fine with us. But as it is now, I listen to the various measures he put in place. It looks good, but even the monitoring will be very tough for them.
Now, let's talk a bit about the banking sector and the role that you play in all of this. Some have said that in recent times, government has been crowding out the private sector, and that does not bode well for private enterprise and business generally. Did you find any signs of reprieve from that as far as the 2023 budget is concerned?
Thank you very much. You know, about 2 years ago, I made a presentation and I said the way we are borrowing, the way we were borrowing left and right, we were crowding out the private sector. And it's going to get worse. Because if policy rate has gone to 27 or thereabout, no bank is going to give you a credit less than the policy rate. They have to put their margins on it, the risk premium. So we're talking about maybe 38 or 30 something. And it's not going to help the industry. And if industry are not producing, the output is not good, then domestic revenue generation will be difficult. You know, it moves in tandem. If you look at one side of the equation and you don't miss the other side, you're not going to get it. And more importantly, if you listen to the governor yesterday, it looks like the debt restructuring is going to come. And if it's going to come, it is even going to curtail the bank's ability to give money to people. Because if you have whatever you use, whether it's a haircut, whether it's a debt restructuring, whether it's a debt swap, whether it's a debt profile, at the end of it all, there is cost in it. And the cost will be borne by those bondholders. And if the bondholders are going to face problems without not getting all their money, it is going to, next 2023, I'm telling you, you can say it and quote me. If what I heard yesterday is right, and the debt actually now being confirmed they will do it, the life is going to be very, 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 very tough. I am not exaggerating because I have figures to what I'm saying. Whether you apply the haircut 10%, whether you apply 15%, whether you do debt restructuring, or whether you do debt reprofiling, whether you do debt rescheduling, whether you do the market-to-market valuation, they all have cost, and it will affect the people's funds. And it's going to, next year, banking, like what governor was saying yesterday, they were thinking about liquidity support. Yes, they have to think about liquidity support because some banks are going to have a serious liquidity support. And more importantly, if you apply the IFRS in the debt valuation, then some are even going to have capital losses, and there will be capital adequacy challenges in the years ahead. So the banking field for the next year and the years to come doesn't look, to me, where I'm sitting, it doesn't look very good at all. It doesn't look very good at all.
So the banking landscape doesn't look like things are going to be good. And you've mentioned that whether it's restructuring, reprofiling, rescheduling, we're going to encounter some pain, a lot of pain in the year to come. What picture then does it paint? Because listening to Deputy Finance Minister Dr. John Kumah speak to us right here about what Eurobond holders could be facing, we're looking at a 30% haircut. And in 2023, nothing by way of returns. In 2024, 5%. In 2025, 10%. Before, in 2026, 4 years after, they'll go back to normalcy. I've had interactions with some people who had so much, and on the back of, in recent times, they are seeing their profits, their principal, the profits completely taken off per reports that we are getting. T-bills are exempt, but what does this mean for investors?
Well, if you see, in the debt treatment, there's what we call equitable and fairly treatment. Every debtor, creditor has the right to be treated equally. So if you go and project that Eurobond would cut 30%, if you don't take care, they're going to tell you that what is good for geese is good for gander. So why don't you do 30% on your side, the domestic? And if you do, even from where I'm sitting, even 15%, if I started talking the figures to you, which I have done the MPV values of all the debt to the bondholders, it is not pleasant. So I don't know why somebody is telling somebody that somebody can do 30%, because the other creditors are going to say the same thing. Even though inflation has already whittled down the domestic bond, what we should take care of this. Inflation has whittled down the domestic bonds. The values have gone down. So if you go and make mention of 10% to Eurobond, and they also decide that what is good for you is good for us, then let's do 30. We're not going to have it at all. That is why I say that in the debt treatment, there must be equitable and fairness, and there be transparency. What is good for domestic debtors must be good for the foreign debtors. So people talking like that, they should sit down and watch the figures. You know, if you haven't, everybody talks narratively, but if you sit where I'm sitting and the figures I have in front of me, if I were to be mentioning the figures to you, you begin to ask me, hey, this is a serious matter. You see, we should attach seriousness to this debt scratching. Now people are talking debt swap. Debt swap is a very simple thing. What is saying that? Extend your maturity period, reduce your coupon rate. And they all have implication on the banking sector. After all, the banks are holding about 31% of the bond. Foreign firms and institutions are holding about 26%. Bank of Ghana is holding 10%. Rural Bank is holding something percent. I can tell you off head, all these people, and they're all going to have part on the people's funds. And if you have people's funds, the banks could not. That's why Governor yesterday was citing us, saying that there's going to be challenges in the banking sector. Capital, some banks' capital are going to be whittled down. We're going to have liquidity, and we may provide liquidity support. All these things are the impending issues that we need as a nation to address, because 2023, from what I have read and what I have heard, is not going to be easy for the poor and the vulnerable. And we're going to have a serious challenge in the years ahead.
2023 is not going to be easy for the poor and the vulnerable. Does it only complicate the problem when you look at the fact that, listening to the governor of the Bank of Ghana recently, he also says that the policy rate is going up to 27%. But on the other hand, we've been told that inflation is projected to drop to 25% in 2023. We are looking at 40.4% now. And Vice President Dr. Bawumia says the economy will soon bounce back. Are these realistic?
Well, I don't know which variables they are holding on for them to be professing that positivity in the system. But if you look at this debt restructuring,
in fact, to quote the Daily Guide,
the policy rate was originally set 8% plus minus 2. Currently, I don't know what is it, 27 plus or minus 2. Before you can bring it to the original position, it's not going to be easy. Those who take money from banks are going to pay very high, especially when people are saying the inflation is. When people say inflation will come to 25%, fine, it's a projection. But the reality is that nobody controls the other side. We have what we call the cost push inflation, imported inflation. Depreciation is having its own way, and then cost of goods being imported is having its own way. So if you set a target that is going to come to 20%, are you controlling the variables that is beyond Ghana? Because we import a lot. And the currency has depreciated over, they say it's about 54%, but if you check critically from Bloomberg, it's more than 60%. So with inflation and depreciation and looking at the policy rate, it doesn't look good next year. Somebody tells you that it's going to come, the policy is going to come to about 22, fine. I don't know what variables he's holding on. The variables that I'm thinking of, that we have these Russian crude oil issues and the Ukraine war, and the cedi depreciating again because of the cut from the Eurobond market, where we cannot borrow to shore the cedi. What are we going to do to shore the cedi? The cedi currently, for me, if you ask me, The city was propped up all these 5 years. Now it is really showing its own value, that this is the value it should have been. Because if you cannot borrow from the offshore to show the currency, then the value of the currency comes out clearly.
When you say the city was propped up, do you imply that we were artificially stabilizing the city and now we've seen our true level?
Well, what we've seen is a temporary stopgap. The cocoa money came in and is being able to mitigate it. What about cocoa money exhaust before December? What are you going to do? You see, currency, for me, currency is about supply and demand. We don't have the supply, but we have the demand. That is what the equation. The supply is the goods we sell outside and we get a foreign exchange. Unfortunately, apart from cocoa and a piece of gold and a limited oil, we don't have anything to show. Because that is why in the budget, I now realize what we've been saying, that the country was structurally imbalanced. Now they are now thinking that, why don't we do domestication? And we should have done domestication even since 2011, 2008. If we have done domestication like what domesticated philosopher theory said, the other man said, we would not have a situation like this. Because everybody is talking about demand of the foreign currency. Nobody is talking about the supply. But if you don't supply, you cannot give. You don't give what you don't have. Nemo that non-con habet. No one claims what he hasn't bought. The dollar is not there. The euro is not there. The pound sterling is not there. So if you claim and it's not there, it is not there. What we should do, that's why I find it good in the budget, we are now beginning to realize that we need to domesticate our economy. Produce more rice, poultry. If we do that, I've said this over and over again. We spent, yesterday I read somewhere, the rice importation is about 1.5 billion. It is even bigger than cocoa syndication recently. Why? Why can't we produce enough of rice or maize? Because if you go to Zimbabwe, it is called sasa. Sasa is the main food, maize. You produce it, they don't have more rice, they have more maize. And we can be eating kenke, dokno, banku. But unfortunately, we decided to have a foreign taste. So what I saw in the budget, which I give them, I take my hat off, is for now realization that we need to domesticate our economy, structurally balance the economy by planting, by growing what we eat and producing what we eat, so that the currency will find its level. Other than that, all the things we've said will never happen. But this is the first time I've seen in the budget. And I take my hat for the minister, for at least the positive thinking that a time has come for us to domesticate. If we domesticate, hardship will come now. But I can assure you, by the next 3 years, Ghana will be a net exporter of maize and rice. And we won't have this challenge. So for me, that is a positive for the minister. And I commend him for that. And I hope he will take it in good faith. As he takes the commendation in good faith, he must also take the critique in good faith.
Right. Before I let go of you, I would just, and maybe sharing these thoughts. I don't know about the consumption of rice being a foreign taste or a quiet taste, because for rice, we've always consumed it on the continent, but maybe production levels here, because we have the capacity in Ghana. It's just that we've not made use of that capacity. And maybe, on the other hand, we can talk about the foreign taste when it comes to the rice produced in Vietnam and the rest, instead of focusing on our locally produced rice, which we can consume. But my final bits to you. What are your expectations then in terms of securing an IMF deal? Then there is talk of the gold for oil situation. How feasible is that for you? Quick reactions to that and we can move on.
I think from the literature, if you're able to put the debt sustainability on ground, you bring in putting what will make the debt sustainable by restructuring, I'm not sure IMF will scare you off. They will possibly want to help you. Because you see, don't forget, there is something Ghanaians have forgotten. Let me tell you this. Ghana has been the stable economy in the whole of sub-region. And the IMF, from what I hear, is they want to support us so that we don't have another problems than other countries. So if you can get the debt sustainability on good level, they will be prepared to support it. But let me chip in before I go. You know, when I was a child, my mother, a village woman, used to hire trucks to carry tomatoes to Burkina Faso. I'm talking about 1960 when I was 68, 69, and 67. My mother was a farmer who buy tomatoes from Ashanti region and take it to Burkina Faso. What do we see now? We now import onions and tomatoes. Why? If we create the enabling environment, giving the various facility, the value chain system to farming, my brother, Ghanaians are hardworking. Ghanaians are tough. Ghanaians are good. We'll be able to do it. So let us not take it from Ghanaians. Let us all come together as a nation and brace ourselves for the challenges ahead. I'm sure by 2025, 2026, we will not be talking about the debt. We'll be talking about a growing economy. So that is all that I will say this morning. Thank you.
Dr. Etiahene, we're grateful for your time. Thank you so much for having joined us on that beat. Later on, we'll be getting some scope as well in these economic times about how you can actually make the most of investments. But let me come into the studio. Paul Grabe-Bwachadankwa is here looking resplendent. A very good morning to you once more.
Very good morning to you, Ben, and to your viewers.
I would ask what your takeaways are from what Dr. Etiahene has been sharing, with us. It's a gloomy picture he paints. He talks about the fact that, look, whether it's debt restructuring, debt reprofiling, debt rescheduling, debt swapping, whatever it is, we are in dire straits. And if you look at the fact that our cocoa syndicated loan, per what he says, is even getting for us less than we're spending in terms of our import bill on rice, then you notice that we are in a very sticky situation. I know you'd probably have some reactions for him before we get into other matters.
Well, yeah, Ben. So I think that my positive reactions are that the learned doctor has painted the stark reality that the Ghanaian economy is in, which is why for us as a government, we have aided in the presentation of the budget to ensure that we have a united front and also be able to have homegrown solutions that will be able to address the very teething challenges. So I can't sway away very much from the very learned doctor and his inputs this morning as it relates to the Ghanaian economy. But I'm very certain that his commendation of our government and of the finance minister in trying to take the bull by the horn in addressing these issues domestically and ensuring that we have some very good restructuring as it relates to our debt, we should be able to come out of the woes. But it's a very challenging time for our government. It's a very challenging time for governments around the world. But clearly, countries and leaders are beginning to see that it's important that you are self-reliant on your own economy, that you eat what you grow, that you make sure that you don't overly rely on export, that you are able to, yes, you don't overly rely on importation, but you're able to export things from your country to be able to ensure that your cedi or your currency grows stronger and stronger. So it's a very challenging time, but we are very certain that we'll be able to address the very teething challenges.
Look, it's one thing saying these things. It's another thing altogether being realistically putting your shoulder to the wheel and doing stuff. Yes, the president has said a few things. Yes, we've heard that forex to people who are importing things that we can have substitutes for will not be given, that forex and all of that. But one thing that a lot of people point to, and if it were working as it should, is 1T1F and what we have to show. Recently, and I'll go back to what Nana Komia said, these factories, when we investigate, we find out that a lot of them are not, they are suffering. I think you were on the show the other time when we spoke to one of them who actually mentioned
when you raised the issue. But I think
we interacted with someone who actually painted a picture for us.
I think that let's not sway away from the issues. As a country, we have a collective agenda to make sure that our country works, regardless of who is in power.
Is 1D1F working?
Absolutely. I think that there's not been.
Why is it not helping with our import bill? It's not added anything, taken away anything from our import bill.
Prior to the MPP government coming into power, there wasn't such a high drive for industrialization in country.
There wasn't?
Well, I do not think that there existed anything called one district, one factory. I do not think that there existed a dream and a vision to build close to about 250.
I guess the question is, what's in the name?
No, I don't think so. And so if you look at the number of industries that we have built, clearly you would be able to say that it's a commitment to start the industrialization process. No government has sought to do that. And you are aware that...
No government?
As far as I'm concerned...
At least we know the very first government in our first republic did that, and we ended up destroying everything. You know the history.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about something that happened
even in the fourth
50
republic,
years ago, 60 years ago.
I think every administration has done something in that respect. You've given it a name.
The drive and the emphasis that our government has given to industrialization is unparalleled in this country. And we must acknowledge and appreciate the inputs that we have put in as it relates to one district, one factory. I can understand and appreciate some of the very shortcomings in terms of the focus area of some of the things that these factories are into. But it doesn't take away the fact that our government has sought to start a conversation and start an infrastructural process of ensuring that the country comes on a platform of an industrialized state.
But Paul Grieve, just take a breather. How do you assess a policy based on results or the mere fact that the policy exists?
No, you assess this on a number of levels. I mean, yes, definitely the policy comes into being, the policy implementers and then the policy takers. I think that one district, one factory has been extremely successful. We've built a number of factories. You are aware of those factories, where they are. I've listed them every
some of them don't exist.
Every now and then. Where
some of those that your people don't exist, and they are producing nothing.
I want to focus on the factories that exist. I want to focus on the factories that the president has commissioned. I want to focus on the factories that the data is available. I want to focus on the factories that has created tens and thousands of jobs for the Ghanaian people. I want to focus on those factories. And I think that...
How exactly do we measure that?
Well, I mean,
the tens of thousands of jobs.
The impact of the factories, from the tiles to the bricks to the fruit juices to the water, to a number of these manufacturing factories that are there. You impact the measure on the output. You impact the measure on the employability. You impact the measure on the economy. And so clearly, you have a number of skills that you can use to be able to measure the impact. But we cannot take away.
If I asked you right now, how many people precisely 1D1F has created employment for? Directly, not indirectly, directly. How many would you say? I mean, you can strike an average.
Well, on average, I think that is created over 60% of jobs in the market space.
Which would be equivalent to what?
Well, you want me to give you a specific number?
Yes.
I don't have the number readily, but I know that it's created tens and thousands. Some of the factories has created close to about 30,000 jobs. Some has created 100,000 jobs. I will be able to put together the
constellation. You mean there are factories, just one, that have created about 10,000?
Lots of factories. I will pull out the data.
Can you name one?
I will pull out the data. I can quickly pull out the data for you to have a look at it, and then we will be able to emphasize that. But I think that as a country, we have had a very particular focus, and in the particularity of our focus, we are addressing the needs and the challenges as it comes poco a poco. In the midst of
I like the Spanish theory.
Yes, in the midst of that, the Ghanaian people clearly appreciate the support of government. I mean, you realize the doctor stated in the budget, one of the things that we sought to do is to aggressively really mobilize domestic revenue. And I mean, Benji, you will recall how it is very difficult to raise revenue. Look at how challenging it was for us to even pass the e-levy bill, which we have had to reduce to about 1% now, primarily because we realized that the digital economy had grown exponentially. I mean, you see how the digital economy had grown from about 76 million to close to about 1 trillion Ghana cedis as at date, and how people were doing businesses within those platforms, and see how government sought to ensure that in expanding the tax bracket, if people in the communities and villages would want light, electricity, school, hospitals, roads, we ensure that people contribute significantly to that. And so, I mean, if you look at a lot of these measures, it's important that we put it up. And as a poor, developing, middle-income country, you look at the leap. Look at how the video that we're watching, which has made me quite emotional this morning, because you realize that the Ghanaian people are suffering. You also realize that there are poor people in the country, which is why government is seeking to address those things. Look, we're expanding our LEAP program. It's estimated that we're going to be increasing our LEAP program to close to about 344,000.
That's a good thing. No one contends that. But the very person, the very old man,
1.8 people in the country.
The very old man you're speaking of has also not received his LEAP payments since May. So those are some of that's the other side. I agree with you. What he gets for him, that is his sustenance. That is everything for him, apart from what I think he mentioned, is it Seaview and people from a certain outfit assisting him. That is his sustenance. Now, even that, while being a good program, has been handicapped. You look at NAPCO and its handicaps. You look at even the National Service Scheme and their handicaps. So there are problems in there. But I think you're looking for the data. That
yes,
because I'll hold you to that.
Absolutely.
I've not forgotten.
No, I've not forgotten as well.
So even as you check out the data, we're also looking at other aspects of what the budget says. And I would like to get your take on the VAT e-levy, conundrum that has come up. Dr. Etiahene shared his own thoughts on it. He feels it's going to lead to the poorest of the poor becoming even more impoverished, to fall even further into penury. But what exactly can be done in the coming year? Side by side with some of these other programs that we are implementing to alleviate the poverty in the system. I also made mention of the fact that lots of millions of Ghanaians, over 14 million, have fallen into multi-dimensional poverty. According to the World Bank, over 1 million have fallen below the poverty line. So these are grave matters to grapple with. Recently, when we heard from National Security Minister Albert Kandapa, he made mention of the fact that we had over 2 million unemployed youth, citing the security threat that poses. Any quick reactions to that? Have you found the data yet?
Yes, I have. I found the data, but let's go ahead and then I'll come back to it.
Right.
So yes, clearly, you talk about unemployment. You talk about the threat of young people to our national security and the rising terror acts within the sub-region of West Africa. Every government has sought to successively address unemployment. You'll recall that in our government, one of the goals that we seek to do in addressing unemployment is to ensure that we put the country on a large scale of entrepreneurship, which is why we brought the Youth Start initiative, that young persons under the age of 40 and at 40 can be able to go in for some grants and request for some monies for some business projects that they might be interested in particularly. We launched that. We're pumping in close to about $10 billion in that regard under the two agencies of Ghana Enterprise Agencies and NEIP. So that is our way of tackling unemployment, I mean, in that regard. And I think that we need to encourage the young people who have business proposals, who have some ideas in mind to want to take advantage of this opportunity. We do appreciate that it's not everyone that can be an entrepreneur, but we appreciate that a few that can be entrepreneurs can start very good businesses and then employ other people to come on board on that. I come to the one district, one factory. I mean, I found my data. I'll go through it. There is the data I have here. Sun Harvest Juice Factory. They produce fruit juice. They have number of employed people is about 5,200. Direct is 200. Indirect is about 5,000. I have data here for
so I missed that. Can you just repeat?
Okay. So what I said was the Sun Harvest Juice Factory. They are in the eastern region. They have created close to about 5,200 jobs.
That is direct jobs.
Direct jobs, yes. If you look at Happy Sunshine Company, they are into manufacturing of canned tomato. They have created close to about 5,100 direct jobs.
Where are they?
They are in Suhum, down the road over there.
5,000 jobs.
5,100 jobs.
5,100 jobs.
There is the Innovation Manufacturing Group. They manufacture biscuits and confectionery-related products. They are in Pong, created close to about 1,130 jobs. I can send this data to you. I mean, there's a lot more of jobs that have been created. I mean, I just think that there is the integrated compost and recycling plant. They recycle waste into compost. In Accra here, created close to about 4,000 jobs. So you look at a number of these one district, one factories. I think that the goal is not to discredit government efforts, really, in trying to industrialize the Ghanaian economy and setting up factories. I think that the goal and the drive is that something has begun. It's not where we expect it to be, but we will definitely achieve our goals before our tenure comes to an end. And there's a lot of data that I have readily available. There's the Sanda Ghana Diapers Limited. They import, they do production of diapers and sanitary napkins. They've created close to about 1,450 jobs. So you look at a lot of these jobs that have been created. You can't discredit that. You look at Bibiani Lodging Limited. They do wood, manufacture wood. They're in Kumasi, created close to about 1,100 direct jobs, and a lot. If you look at the number of factories, I think that the data shows that.
I think you've just given quite a bit of work to our correspondents in the different regions.
Absolutely.
We're going to check these out.
Please
check them out in terms of
please do
the factories being actually available. People actually working there, the numbers we're looking at, and hopefully they don't turn out to be like Nana Kumia put out, Wale, Savelugu, and we went there and found rodents and lizards and incomplete and abundant.
I think you should focus on what I'm saying.
We shall check
emphasis is
some
on
of
the
these
good results.
And of course, look at what happens from there. There's also this latest development, of course, in shoring up our local currency, the gold for oil situation. I don't know whether you followed the discourse in terms of what the challenges are. The community miners have come to the studio. Dr. Blessing Aka was here yesterday. Dr. Kone of the Chamber of Mines. All of them have expressed their concerns about the metrics or the optics of it so far. Can you give us further insight into that?
You know, Ben, we are in very difficult times where we need to find measures to be able to address our very teething challenges as it relates to the rise of fuel. I mean, everything rises and falls on fuel because, I mean, food will go high because people are transporting that, inflation will go high. I mean, a number of factors. So what we seek to do is to get a Bank of Ghana to buy gold and store it up in the vault, and in the midst of that, trade that for our oil in other countries. That is going to help us really just minimize the number of monies that the OMCs and BDCs need to exchange to go and buy the gold, the oil, which is the fuel, and then bring it back into the country. So,
quick questions.
Yeah.
So the underlying bits, I think we all understand what you've told us so far. But how are you going to go that route? Government is not directly bringing in, you know, this crude or this oil. We've moved away from that. It's been a long time since we did that. We've moved away. How are you going to, you know, bring that to bear with the oil marketing companies or the bulk distribution companies? And are you also taking stock of the fact that the price of gold fluctuates, and at some time the price of gold versus the price of oil could be problematic? It's not static. People have raised red flags about these two situations. I just want to make it very basic.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you view these?
I understand that. You know, Benjamin, every single country and government must always look out for their unique selling proposition, which is, I mean, as a country and as a government, we have some unique selling propositions, and one of them becomes our gold reserves. And the more gold reserves we have, the better we are as a country. I mean, because then when the gold prices go very high and the oil prices go very low, then you can be able to get some oil and fuel coming into your country. So one of the things that we seek to do is to have a broader conversation with the AMCs and the BDCs for them to understand that when you need to change your Ghana cedi to Forex to go and buy your oil and bring it to the country and sell, it impacts every single thing. It impacts our Ghanaian currency, it impacts the price of fuel. So one of government's measures of stepping in to really help the entire situation is ensure that government has that liquidating ability, which is the gold that we have bought and stored up in the Bank of Ghana vault, and then we take that to any of these producing countries of oil, so we can be able to get that into the country. So those are the rationales behind. But it's a broader conversation that we'll have with the BDCs and the OMCs for them to come to an appreciable understanding for all of them to join this kind of policy that government is putting in place.
Tied to that, interestingly, so the World Bank is expressing concerns about Ghana's increasing reliance on its natural resources. And again, we're falling on those natural resources when it comes to securing oil. Don't you think, especially when you think of future generations and the fact that these resources are finite, and you even consider, because for many years, we would even say that this is our output globally when it comes to gold production. And India alone would tell you that, oh, what we got from Ghana was this much. The United Arab Emirates would tell us, it appears we're not doing justice to ourselves and we're not being fair to posterity on it, are we?
Benjamin, the natural resources might not necessarily be finite. Yes, natural resources.
Our gold is very finite.
Well, I mean, our
diamond is very finite.
But we've been mining gold in this country for a very long time.
Have you followed the trajectory of projections when it comes to how long we're going to have gold?
And then we are not going to have gold anymore.
And it's going to be practically...
It's going to be finished.
Yes.
Well,
have you followed those projections?
I've followed the projections. I've read the papers. I've seen those trajectories and everything. As we speak now,
right.
we still have some more gold in the country. We still have some more.
It doesn't mean we should deplete it.
No, not at all. That's not the goal. No, that's not the goal.
Engage in consumerism because there are generations to come, and we owe them a responsibility to ensure that they will also have a share of
Benjamin, I agree. I'm part of that generation.
Well, you are here at least. There are the yet unborn.
I'm part of that generation that is yet to come. Into various arms of government and leadership. But clearly, yes, I do appreciate that government falling on natural resources is key for development, which is why I say that every single country has a unique selling proposition. You need to be able to see what unique resources that you have available that you can be able to use to trade. And I'm certain that we are keeping in mind the data that is available as it relates to the finite nature, as you describe it, of our natural resources. But I'm very certain that within the space that we have available, especially with the situation that we find ourselves in, the gold for oil is and other policies that we have put in place is one of the pragmatic policies to ensure that we're able to come out of the woes.
So to wrap the conversation, Paul Grave, it is clear, unless you do not agree with Dr. Etuahene, who spoke to us earlier, that next year is going to be a tough year. We still don't know too much about our IMF program. I don't know when we'll have a staff level agreement on the program. In the meantime, depreciation of our currency, though technically we say 54%, like Dr. Etuahene hinted at, Bloomberg and the rest will point to the fact that we are actually over 60%. Inflation per what we have here, what the Ghana Statistical Service tells us, is pegged at 40.4%. And for those of you who don't know how to go about it, what you need to do, if you want to know how inflation on the general level, because your inflation could be higher than the national average, you just look at 40.4 divided by 100 and multiply it by your salary, and you will know exactly how much inflation alone is taking out. When you look at all of these dynamics and the fact that the Vice President tells us in the Daily Guide newspaper, expect economic recovery soon. What is reality? What is fact? What is fiction? And how do we do that with this 30% haircut we're looking at that is staring us in the face? Maybe you can wrap on those.
So Benjamin, I mean, clearly in trying to bring conclusion to a number of our economic challenges and how government is addressing that, we would reach an IMF staff agreement very soon. The president in his economic address to the country stated that by close of year we should reach an IMF staff agreement. And so we are very certain that we'll reach an IMF staff agreement. Having the finance minister present the budget for 2023 is a clear indication that we are at the very close edges of reaching our negotiation and coming to a close. Yes, the economy definitely is going to bounce back. We are going to have some very difficult and challenging years ahead of us. Which is already known to government as well. But we are making sure that in the midst of the challenges that the entire globe is facing, I mean, Ghana definitely not being in isolation of the impact of the global challenges, we're going to make sure that the Ghanaian people don't necessarily experience those hardships as it is, which is why a number of these measures have been put in place. If you look at the austerity measures that we have put in place, close to about 7 of them, it's very key. I'll list them: aggressively mobilize domestic revenue where people can pay their taxes and make sure that we have enough revenue in the country, streamline and rationalize expenditures from government angle. You are aware, I told you how we've cut down our expenditure and it's even extended into 2023, boost local productive capacity, where the Bank of Ghana has now stated that it's not going to be giving forex for the importation of rice, vegetable oil, toothpaste, pasta, and all of those other things. Promote and diversify exports from our country, and protect the poor and the vulnerable, which is why LEAP is very key for us as a government. Expand the digital and climate responsive fiscal infrastructure, and then implement a structural and public sector reforms. I believe that once all of these things are put in place, we should have a very good year from 2024 into 2025.
Well, so soon may not be too soon, in fact. But thank you for joining us on the program. Dr. Richmond Etiahene is a banking consultant. He joined us earlier to share his thoughts, and he was saying that we should brace ourselves because next year is going to be very, very, very tough, especially for the poor. Also in the studio joining me, Palgrave Boakye Dankwa. He is government's spokesperson on governance and security. But following these discussions, we go back to the Kantamanto area, and we have a situation where there's been another fire outbreak in this major marketplace. The Ghana National Fire Service is on hand trying to douse the fire and control the situation. We'll be heading back there. My colleague Michael Papani Ashale has been on that beat. Michael is standing by to have an interaction with us, but as you can see in your shot, some smoldering, the flames in there, and basically efforts still underway to deal with that situation. We'll be crossing over shortly when we have the feed, but right before we take that break, water is life. It regulates your body temperature. It keeps you alive and kicking. Awakers premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. We have the perfect sizes for all occasions: 330 and 500 ml bottles to fit your pockets and bags, 750 ml for the heavy drinkers, and 1.5 liters for those who always want more. We also have introduced our special 19-liter jars for offices and homes. Now, all you need to do is just stay awake with Awake Purified Drinking Water wherever you go. So come on, grab a bottle of Awake Water and get quality hydration. Awake Purified Drinking Water, one for life. Remember, for every bottle you purchase, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. It's produced by Casapreco. For bulk purchases, just call 0262 351 251. This advert is FDA approved. We take a breather. When we return, we'll bring you more on that Kantamanto issue, and we'll also be talking about third-party insurance premiums that are going up. What's the reason and how do we deal with them? Stay. We'll be right back.
Hello there, good morning to you. A very wonderful morning after Ghana's win against South Korea. Well, it's now time for us to have a conversation about insurance because the National Insurance Commission, in consultation with the Ghana Insurers Association, hereby issues a revised motor tariff in the face of current economic challenges. And they say the revised motor tariffs and attached schedules will take effect from December 1, 2022. Now, let's look at the impact of this on people like you who own vehicles or who use vehicles. Well, a bit more details. They say the post-2020 registered vehicles with a premium mark up of 38% across the risk categories, pre-2020 registered vehicles with a premium markup of 26% across the risk categories, and an increase in the minimum third-party property damage, that's the TPPD cover, to 6,000 Ghana cedis, and an increase in the minimum personal accident cover to 7,000 cedis. Well, we've been joined by the PRO of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU. Mr. Samuel Amwa, he joins us for a conversation on this. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for your time. We understand that you were in a meeting with the National Insurance Commission and the Ghana Insurance Association. What exactly was that meeting about, and what was the conclusion of it?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me say good morning to your listeners and viewers. Yes, it's true. We had an information area that the Insurance Commission to do some adjustments by increasing their insurance by a margin, which from
We are losing you. Can you kindly reposition yourself so we can hear you clearly? Hello, Mr. Amwa? Hello? It appears that we lost Mr. Amwa there on the line. We'll try and reconnect him. He speaks for the Ghana Private, Road Transport Union, GPRTU. And we were just about getting some information on a meeting they had with the National Insurance Commission and the Ghana Insurers Association. And this is because there's been a review of the motor tariffs, which includes an increase in the minimum third-party property damage cover to 6,000 cedis. And, well, we are being told by the National Insurance Commission that this needs to happen in the face of current economic challenges. We're just hoping. Hello, Mr. Amwa?
Yes, I'm on the line, please.
Yeah, great. We didn't hear your initial comments because the line was breaking.
Yes, sorry.
So if you could just...
What I was saying was that we had an information that the Insurance Commission is going to do some increments on the third-party policies.
Okay.
So they called us to a meeting. We had the meeting invitation, I think about 3 days ago. No, that is 4 days ago. Then we met yesterday at the NIC office. They told us that based on how some things are going in terms of economically, how the things are going in the insurance, Commission also has to do some adjustment, increment, because everything has gone up, and the claims that most of their clients are taking, if they compare it to how much they are taking, it's like the insurance companies are losing, and that they are coming out with some adjustments. And then what they told us was that they wanted to increase it by 80%. But after a lengthy meeting, they came to a conclusion that they are increasing it by 30%, which is going to take effect from 1st December 2022. So actually, our side was that we told them that yes, normally one of the components that we used to do our calculations in terms of transport fare review is taxes, of which insurance too is part. And then it's quite recently that we did some increments on our transport fares. And if they are coming out with 30% right now, looking at how things are going and how it's going to take effect from the 1st December, it will disturb us a little bit. So if they can adjust the time, they can just take the time to 1st January. I think we'll be okay with that.
So the 1st January is a proposal from the GPRTU, but as it stands now, the National Insurance Commission says this will take effect on the 1st of December. You are trying to push it back a little.
Yes, but yesterday we had an agreement. So I believe a circular will come out again because the commissioner himself was there and most of the executives were there, and we all agreed that it will take effect from January 1st. Actually, they accepted our proposal.
Okay.
And, before then, the letters has already gone out. That is why it's everywhere that it's taking effect from 1st December. But our agreement with them yesterday was that it will be pushed to 1st January. We agreed on that yesterday.
Right. So we've been trying to reach the NIC and the Ghana Insurance Association for a word on this. We are yet to do that. So I agree with you. We need to wait until we see that letter or circular indicating that your proposal has been accepted for us to, go with that. So let's stick to the 1st December date. Even if your proposal is accepted and we see evidence of it, will this still lead to an increment whenever this motor review tariffs take effect?
Yeah, hopefully yes, because as I said earlier on, the 4 major components that we used to run our business, or we used to do our calculations, one of them is the petroleum product, then lubricant, spare parts, and taxes, of which insurance is also part. Recently, DVLA came out with 15% increment, and when we were doing our review, our transport fare review, we factored it in it. And therefore, if insurance is also coming out with 30% increment, definitely, if we are going to do any review, it will reflect in it. It will also have an effect on it. Yes. So if they come out with this 30%, definitely, yeah, the answer will be definitely it will reflect in our transport fare increment.
And considering the reason they gave for the adjustment, they say times are hard, and you as a union has even had reason to complain about that in recent times, even leading up to the increase in transport fares. Are your members able to afford this new amount?
It's difficult, very, very difficult. Even the ones that we were paying was at the higher side. Drivers were complaining. The third party premium for a 15-passenger, trotro was paying 527 cedis. And should this happen, then it means that it's going to go almost about 700 cedis, which will be at the higher side. But then, based on their explanation and how they also came out with, everything going up, and they are also a business entity that they are running, and they also don't have to run at a loss. And this is how they can also do to survive their businesses. I think we can't complain. When it happens like that, all that we also have to do is to also come out to do some small adjustments on our transport fare so that we can all move along with it.
Right. We appreciate your time here this morning. Samuel Amoah is PRO of the GPRTU, and he was just giving us some more information about a meeting their union had with the National Insurance Commission on the motor tariff review. He tells us that they sent in a proposal asking the Insurance Commission to push back the date that these new tariffs take effect to the 1st of January. He says at that meeting that was agreed to. We are yet to see evidence of that. But what it is now is that we have a letter by the National Insurance Commission indicating that these tariffs will take effect on the 1st of December 2022. And if you just join the program, just by way of a reminder, of a rehash, these tariffs, according to the National Insurance Commission, had to be made in the face of the current economic challenges. They say post-2020 registered vehicles with a premium markup of 38% across the risk categories, pre-2022 registered vehicles with a premium markup of 26% across the risk categories, an increase in the minimum third-party property damage cover to 6,000 cedis, and an increase in the minimum personal accident cover to 7,000 cedis. All right. So they add that kindly take note and ensure that your company's systems, processes, and procedures comply with the new motor tariffs by the effective date. And that is just by way of information for you. If you're someone who uses public transport and you may feel that, okay, I don't pay motor insurance, I don't have a vehicle, well, the GPRTU has been explaining how this will affect you, because in the components they look at in pricing or arriving at transport fares, charges include how much they pay for insurance, and so it's going to be rolled over to you some way, somehow. You're still watching the AM show. Buy your 3 months or 12 months HD Plus subscription on your HD Plus decoder this football season and dial *844*8# to enter the HD Plus Orekodo Double promo. Now, there are 1,700 rewards to be won, including trips for 3 couples to Dubai in December, 65-inch TVs, household appliances, etc. The promo is valid from now to the 5th of December 2022. And so you just make sure that you get onto that promo. And we'll take a quick breather now. When we come back, we'll be having a conversation with one of our sponsors for the most loved kids cooking competition. Do stay. Hello, thank you so much for staying on the AM show. You know, Christmas is approaching. Yes, we are entering December very, very soon. And I know for many of you, yes, the times are hard, but you still want to get that item you've wished for, or even buy a gift or present for somebody. And that's why Low Price Masters is here. I've been joined by Frank Heyman, Head of Sales and Marketing of Low Price Masters, and they've got a special package for you this Christmas. This is a company that understands and appreciates the times and wants to do you good. Hello, how are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored, especially being on JoyNews.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Now, just tell us what your special Christmas promotion is all about.
Absolutely. First of all, let me use this opportunity to say good morning to your wonderful and discerning viewers. Low Price Masters, we've been around for almost 20 years, and just to let you know, we are the best when it comes to the sales and distribution of all home appliances and electronics products. And anytime I come here, I bring good news. The good news today is that we reduce all our product up to 50% discount on everything that we are selling by courtesy of Low Price Masters. Wow. Every home appliance product that you need to make life comfortable and life feel good for you, we have it for sale at Low Price Masters. So my coming here today is to alert and inform your wonderful viewers. And you can see we brought some of our products. In fact, we have over 50 different products of home appliances.
Did you say reduced to 50%?
Up to 50%, yes indeed.
Wow, that's like half the price.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to give you the specifics.
Okay.
I mean, before we end the program, but as you can see on the table, these are some of the products that we have to offer. Blender, air conditioning, we also have gas cookers, tabletop fridges, chest freezers, double door fridges, washing machines, and a lot more. And you know, this is the latest two-slice toaster that we have in town. Okay. In fact, you'll love it. Will you love to have something like this, Bernice?
Oh, definitely. Why not?
Right.
It's nice.
This is a gift for you from Low Price Masters.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, are you serious?
I'm telling you, I'm giving it to you for. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
This is actually a surprise. Christmas came early for me.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
I wish you could just open it so they can see,
right,
you know, so that your viewers can have a feel of, you know, this is two-slice toaster to make life good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it will make life good.
Absolutely.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah, it doesn't weigh that much. Very simple.
Yeah.
And you enjoy it because this is one of our latest innovation in town.
Okay.
By courtesy of Low Price Masters.
Okay, this is nice. And it looks very easy to use.
Absolutely.
So you can just decide the level of toast that you prefer. If you're like me who doesn't like it too burnt or too white, then you find the middle ground there.
Yeah.
And then you just put in your bread and just do that. When it's done,
Good to go.
voila,
Absolutely.
oh, thank Thank you so much.
Yes, Bernice.
Good. Thank you.
All right. In terms of the specifics of what we sell, I know you have very, discerning viewers. Now, we have showrooms scattered across the length and breadth of the country. Over 10 different showrooms across Ghana, from Tamale, Takoradi to Kumasi. Now, if you walk into our showroom today and you have less than 1,000 Ghana cedi, that's 900 Ghana cedi, you can purchase a 32-inch satellite digital terrestrial television from Low Price Masters. That is part of the discount that we are running. Some of our competitors are selling it for 1,200, 1,400, but only 900 Ghana cedi by courtesy of Low Price Masters. Maybe you might also need a 1.5 horsepower air condition. As low as 3,500 Ghana cedi, you can buy from Low Price Masters. And this is part of our up to 50% discount. Absolutely. And it cuts across gas ovens and gas cookers, chest freezers, as well as double door fridges and washing machine. If you need a washing machine with just 7 kg semi-auto, it's selling for less than 2,500.
Wow.
2,350 Ghana cedi. You can get a 7 kg semi-auto. That's a washing machine by courtesy of Low Price Masters. It is real. It is not gimmick. So just walk into any of our showrooms, and all these reduction applies to all our products.
Okay.
And that is the excitement and the buzz that is happening by courtesy of Low Price Masters.
This is fantastic. Now, good things, they say, don't always last long. And so Low Price Masters is doing this for you for Christmas. But how long does this last?
As long as stores last.
Oh, wow.
I mean, as I speak to you now, since we introduced this policy of price reduction, massive traffic going through our showroom. So I will urge all your viewers, there's no time to waste time. Please visit us now, take advantage of what we have now. Because if you might wait for next week or next few days, it might be over. So as long as stocks lacks, up to 50% discount by courtesy of Low Price Masters.
And I know there's some people who are watching us outside the country, because we have a lot of people, expats who watch us. And you may want to get a gift for somebody you know here. The good thing is that for Low Price Masters, they have online platforms that you can view and see some of these products. Do you mind sharing with us?
Absolutely. We've got one of the most user-friendly websites. Our website is www.lowpricemasters.com.gh. lowpricemasters.com.gh. If you log on now to our website, that is lowpricemasters.com.gh, you have a virtual tour of our products, our brands, and our prices for you to make an informed decision. Because, financial ability means different things to different people. Maybe you can afford a specific price based on what you want. Others can afford lower or higher. So once you go on the website, you can make an informed decision of how much you want to and the kind of brand that you specialize about, and we are good to go.
Right.
So Low Price Masters is what we are on now. Then beyond that, we are also active on social media. You log on to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and our handle is Low Price Masters. Right. So, the excitement is on. So if you cannot come to our showroom, you can still log on to our website, and trust you me, you'll be so glad you did.
I'm very excited about the digital marketing, because that's the way to go. So if I see a product on your website and I want to buy it and I want to deliver to a friend or family as part of my Christmas present to them, can you help me do that?
It's possible, exactly.
Put up that surprise for me?
Absolutely, we do.
That's like
beyond
you've done
that,
for me this
absolutely, yes, we have a professional standard. We have a telemarketing department that is also very active. The important thing is this: we want to make life simple for our clients and our customers. To ease the stress, to make life simple, and that is the new concept by courtesy of Low Price Masters. And I'm so excited about that, and I'm so proud about what we've been able to achieve. And let me use this opportunity to say a big thank you to all our wonderful customers that has been with us throughout the years. And we appreciate and we value our relationship with you. And that's why we are so excited to let you know that Low Price Masters, we are affordable, we are credible, and we are durable. That is very important, And in terms of our showrooms, I know we are running out of time. We have branches in Tamale, we have in Sunyani, in Kumasi, we have in Keta, Hohohoi in the Volta region, then Tema as well, then in Takoradi, then Koforidua, Dansoman, opposite Alphabeta, that is Dansoman Sahara. We have a modern showroom that you can walk in. Then we also have a main showroom at La Paz, opposite Access Bank, Mambolino. Now, the good news is that if you go to our showrooms, we have product available. Okay. We don't tell you we've run out of stocks. This is credibility based on professional practice. And that makes us so unique, the best among the rest. That is the most important thing. And the phone numbers, probably.
All right.
All right. We've got 3 active phone numbers: 050 432 3000, 050 432 3000. Our MTN number as well is 0247 693 634. Again, it's 0247 693 634. Finally, 050 395 9693. 050 395 9693.
Thank you very much, Frank. Frank Heyman is head of sales and marketing at Low Price of Masters. And as the name indicates, Low Price Masters, they are the masters when it comes to giving you the best, but at an affordable and low price. I got my toaster. Thank you so much, Low Price Masters, for this surprise. Christmas came early for me, and you can visit any of their showrooms as indicated and pick up something for yourself or someone this Christmas. Don't forget, they've got 50% Christmas promo running till stocks last. Well, for us here, we'll cross over quickly now back to Kantamanto, where Michael Papani Ashale is standing by for us. There's been a lot of damage caused to goods there. As you may be aware, Kantamanto houses the largest second-hand clothing market in the country. And as you can see there in your shot, some clothes already damaged. Hello, Michael. What has transpired between the time we came to you and now?
Yes, so since the time I got here, I can say that the fumes of smoke has rather gotten bigger. The explanation, I'm told, is because the National Fire Service is making some efforts to bring the fire under control. Also, just in case, so that they can work through the thick fumes of smoke, personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service have been equipped with breathing apparatus, including a gas mask. They have this shield that they wear on their head, and then they have their protective attire that they wear as well. So all of this have been given to them so that they can forge into the fire and then make some progress with making sure that the fire is brought under control. What we are currently understand is ground zero, where the fire started. The ground is still very warm, and you can see a mountain, a heap of clothing that has all been burnt down. Now what we are seeing as well are some individuals who are sifting through the debris, trying to salvage the little that they can here. It's a lot. Not far from here, there's a fire here. It continues to burn, but we are told that the Ghana National Fire Service is also trying its possible best to bring this fire under control here. Where we are ground zero, there are quite a lot of things that you can see. There are tubers of yam. I want to believe that was sold not far from here. So tubers of yam, all charred, cannot be eaten anymore nor sold using any form whatsoever. Not far from here, there's ginger as well, all over the floor. I want to believe that was a ginger shop as well here. And then we'll bring you to Sandra and her mother's shop. They used to sell beans. She tells me they had about 55 bags of beans that they were selling. But since the incident happened, they have lost more than 40 of those. She tells me they've been able to salvage just about 10 bags of it, and these beans cannot be sold on the market anymore. At best, they'll have to sell it to a farmer who will be willing to use it to feed animals, or use it as feed on their farm. So it's a difficult situation for those who are affected by the fire here, with a lot of individuals trying to help them as well with salvaging efforts here. It's a tough situation for many of those who have lost a lot here. In terms of update for the fire, the Ghana National Fire Service earlier told me they deployed 7 tendon machines that will help them to fight the fire, with an additional 2 on its way to join them. They've been working side by side by each other, trying to bring this fire under control. So these are the wreckage. These are all that's left of the fire at Kantamanto. Tough situation and a difficult situation for many of the residents here. If you know, Kantamanto is one of Ghana's biggest thrift markets. You can literally buy anything at all at any time. It's one of the few markets that barely goes to sleep. How this happened, eyewitnesses have not been able to point me to where this started from and how it started. No one seems to know the genesis of the fire. The letter I managed to get from them is that it started around 4:30 a.m. In the morning, and then just a few minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, the National Fire Service arrived. That's what they tell me, although it's been conflicting. They tell me it took more than an hour for them to get here. The fire service has already disagreed with that assertion. Says it took them 15 minutes to actually get their first fire tender on site. For nearly 4 hours, the battle has been continuing to try and end this fire from further spread. But it appears the wind is not helping much with what exactly is happening here. I'll try and find some of the shop owners and speak to them. It's a tough moment for many of them here. Bossman, who in shop this?
Me, I don't know. Me was a stranger here, so I don't know.
You be stranger. So what are you doing?
Me, I'm just roaming. We are roaming to find. Maybe we also get the owner of the things. No, if you can also help me.
Okay, so you are trying to help the owner of the things try to get the little that he can get. Yeah. But all of them seems to be bent. What are you going to get from it?
Unless you take an iron side. It'll be only the iron side you go take then. Try maybe we also get something then chop.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yeah. So it's a tough moment for many individuals here. Let's try and get back to the National Fire Service here and see how far they have gotten with efforts to bring the fire under control. So this is the ginger that we spoke about all over the floor, all of them bent, with the owner losing nearly all their investment here. So let's get back to the action. And you can see the thick smoke continues, making it practically impossible for the Ghana National Fire Service to bring this fire under control. As it stands now, more than 7 fire tenders are around, dispensing water one after the other. Many more people, for fear of the fire spreading and getting to their shops, have decided to pack their goods out of the market here. So, it's a tough situation for many individuals here at the Kantamanto business area.
Oh, la blue.
These are efforts by some residents to help some of the shop owners to salvage their items here in Kantamanto. And this shop that is affected is one of the newer ones, the new areas that the fire is spreading to. For fear that it will get to her shop, we have to move some of the things. So, these are some of the few chaotic scenes that happens here in Kantamanto. Some other individuals, for their own parochial interest, have decided to infiltrate the rescue efforts here. I mean, some of them have been tagged as thieves who are trying to steal from the already suffering owners of the shops who have already lost thousands of Ghana cedis within this particular incident here. So it's a tough situation for many of the people here. Rescue efforts continue, but it appears that some of them would actually lose their stuff eventually.
Oh, my man cracked my school now. Bye. The bread for 2 o'clock. The bread for 2 o'clock. The Guinea and no. Oh, and then. Oh, as I say, Mama, as I say.
So, new hoses are being sent into the heart of the fire by the Ghana National Fire Service, who are still working around the clock with no space in between, trying to find a solution to this raging fire. It's a very chaotic process, very chaotic scene for those personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service who have to navigate themselves through individuals who are traumatized, who want to salvage their items from the flames. It's a tough situation for many of them. But these are new areas again where the fire is now spreading to, thanks to the wind that is blowing without stop here. Yes, another chaotic scene here at the Kantamanto market. It's a difficult process, even for a shop owner, to tell the difference between people who are helping you to salvage your items and those who are trying to steal from you whilst you are trying to salvage your items from your shop. A tough situation, a difficult situation for many of them. What you see in your pictures, what you see on your screens, I beg your pardon, are fresh efforts from the Ghana National Fire Service to douse the fire. Connecting new pipelines and again bringing in new fire tenders to help with frantic efforts to douse the fire. It's been more than 4 hours since the first fire tender arrived, and the fire continues to spread beyond its reach. Oh, Chairman, sorry, right? What's your name?
Eric.
Okay, Eric. Eric here is the shop owner of this new shop that has been affected. This shop was not part of the first shop that were affected when the fire started, right?
I was not here. I was not here where the thing started.
But it wasn't part of the stores that were affected earlier?
It's not part of... This is a warehouse. It's not store, it's a warehouse where I'm packing everything here.
Okay. Eric, so... Now when come home, I shall say no. Johnny Drew.
I shall say no. You buy the boss and Kasa Ofie, and you start here na key near, and you force to go any. If you tell me, you beer no na is a smoky. It's not a fire. And I'm here saying smoky.
Eric, let's step outside a bit because of the heat alone. Could definitely cook some food, but that's not what it's cooking. It is burning to the ground the items of individuals that didn't exceed coming. Eric was earlier telling us that when the fire started, he hadn't got into his particular shop, but now his shop is one of the newest ones that have been engulfed in the flame. Fire service is having a very difficult time trying to bring this fire under control. So, Eric, what exactly do you have in your shop?
We sell non-stick, blender, rice cooker, everything.
So you had a lot of electrical appliances in there?
Electrical appliances, more.
Can you quantify how much that was to you?
I'm not a leader. I'm not a boss. We have the bosses over there, so you can talk to my boss.
I'm not sure I know your boss, but if you put it into money, how much was one blender?
One blender, we have 600, we have 450, we have 300. It's different items.
That's Michael Ashali coming to us from Kantamanto, just speaking to someone whose shop has also been affected. He can give us too much because he's not the owner of the shop, but we will stay on the ground to bring you the very latest. What we are discovering now is that the fire has spread, and if you know Kantamanto very well, you know that there are adjoining shops around the CMB area, and so we don't know if it's spread that far, but this particular shop is one that deals in electrical appliances, and the Ghana National Fire Service is still on the ground and still trying to douse the flames which have spread from various shops to other places. We will bring you that in subsequent bulletins. Benjamin Akakpo joins me. Hello, Benjamin. Great to have you back.
Hello, Bernice.
Not the news we would want to tell after Ghana has won a game like we did yesterday. But these
I was joking earlier that Yasre Kakra, Yesu Kakra.
Yeah, but these fires, they seem to happen almost every year, sometimes not once, not twice, but multiple times. We need to find a lasting solution to that.
I am sorry, but when I heard of this fire earlier today, I was a bit, I wouldn't say indifferent. I cannot be indifferent when people are losing property and all of that. But I just felt, look, here we go again. It's become like a ritual, I'm sorry. And just every year we live out the ritual. Oh, and it got burnt. And oh, there are not the right spaces for the fire service. And oh, they shouldn't have these illegal connections. And oh, the gas cylinders that they are cooking. Honestly, I'm tired of this kind of news because it's a repetitive, vicious cycle. We never do the right things to stem the tide of same. So I don't know what, I mean, I have practically very little to say on this matter. We're simply a country of, let me reserve my comments.
Well, our heart goes out to those who've lost items there. We just hope that they were insured, and we hope that you can quickly pick up from there. But the most loved and exciting kids cooking show on Joy Prime, Big Chef, is finally coming to an end. As we journey to the finale, contestants have displayed their exceptional culinary skills in the last 11 weeks of the competition. We started with 14 and now we are down to the big 6. Ajoa, Amma, Fidelia, Aram, Prince and Laura. Vote for your favorite by dialing *711 *60# and follow the prompt. Who wins Big Chef Season 2? Well, remember, your vote makes up 40% of the entire vote cast. So vote as many as you can. Catch the finale of Big Chef on Sunday, 4th December 2022 at 5 p.m. on Joy Prime. Big Chef is kindly brought to you by Fortune Rice, Frytol sunflower oil, Indomie, Top Choco floral tissues, Low Price Masters, Sankofa natural spices, City Blood Tonic, and Perk biscuits. And before we go, Benjamin.
Well, we're going to be celebrating a few people, and it's a very happy birthday to our amazing twin CEOs, Mrs. Kakra Dufour Nyako, Chief Executive Officer of Star Life Assurance, and Mrs. Pinin Bafo Ewa, Chief Executive Officer of Star Assurance. May God grant you both long life and wisdom to steer the affairs of Star Life Assurance and Star Assurance to greater heights. It's from us to you. Happy birthday as well to your awesome selves. Enjoy this special day. It's also from the staff of the Star Assurance Group. Bernice?
That's a nice one when you said twin CEOs. Very interesting. And happy birthday to Desi Ezekiel Freeman Tete, Papa K. Your 8th yesterday. Wishing you a very happy birthday. And this is from your parents to you. Loads of love to all of you celebrating your birthday as well. We wish you long life and prosperity. Now, quick one. We have a few minutes to take a few of your comments concerning Ghana's game against South Korea yesterday. Right. Everybody seems to be talking about the extra 10 minutes. That
was like a lifetime of agony, of pain. And we were going through it, and I was sitting there, and my heart was in my mouth, and my heart was doing hey!
Oh, goodness. So there are those who are talking about, is that Kudus, talking about his performance yesterday, man of the match, well-deserved. John Mensah Kakariba says he was good and fast, very alert and hardworking. He took his chances very well. He's dedicated. Abdul Hafiz Rufai says, even FIFA rated him 10 over 10. What do you want again? And Sofiano Adam says he was fantastic, but some of the Ghanaian ladies have started, really asking whether Kudus is single. There's this one I saw about Tariq Lamptey. His sister on TikTok put up a photo of their mom and Tariq and said, go for it, mom is proud of you. Everybody's calling the sister, oh, hello, sister-in-law. Oh, please say hi to Tariq for us. Someone actually said, dear me, I have a very important message for you. And I'm like, what's all this? Anyway, well, I mean, that was a well-deserved win. I know there are people who have issues with especially the defense and the midfield of the Black Stars team. But here's what I told someone. If this was about 4 or 5 years ago, Benjamin, when we were on our one-goal project, there would have been no chance for us to come back.
Right.
After.
But the one-goal project usually is in the AFCON.
Yes,
usually
I know.
When we go out.
Yeah, I know. But it seemed to be the characteristic of the team. We just could not score beyond one goal.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is exciting for me. A Black Stars that can score 3 or even more goals in a game. This World Cup, and we've scored 5 goals.
We've scored 5 goals. But let's quickly take the take of Sule from Adna quickly. Sule, good morning. What are your thoughts for us?
Oh, too bad we lost Sule. Hello, Sule. No,
we appear to have lost Sule.
So our next game is when? Friday?
Yes, we lock horns with Uruguay, and hopefully we get a very good result from there as well. We're conceding a number of goals. We're netting a number of goals. We should just... It's like our situation in Ghana, export, import. We should just ensure that we are able to
export more and import.
Ship out more goals than we concede, and I think that will work for us.
Yeah. Well done, guys. Well done, guys. I'm told we have Parkwesi on the line. Hello, Parkwesi. Hi. Great to hear you.
Yes.
Please share your thoughts with us.
Say again?
Kindly share your thoughts with us.
Oh, yeah. We did well. And I think kudos to Kudus. We have to think the word kudos to Kudus, to all the players.
Yeah.
And I know we are going to demolish Uruguay on Friday. But
Great.
Please let me say this. Where are the police at Katamando?
So the police was there. I saw someone in a vest.
I saw only one policeman.
Yes, because, I mean, at the time, that's what the cameras were showing you.
A pool of police.
Right, Parkwesi, we appreciate your concerns, and we will touch base with our man on the ground to see what exactly is happening with regards to security. Thank you for pointing it out, Benjamin.
My concern had to do with when that gentleman, it appeared, was getting lynched. so to speak. Yeah, the mob action and all of that. I think that is why some people are concerned about the presence of the police. But we have another caller. Is it Fred?
Yeah, Fred.
All right. Good morning, Fred. What are your thoughts for us?
Yesterday, our guys, they did very well.
Okay.
Fred, can you speak up a bit? You said they didn't, or they did?
They did very well. I think that was all he wanted to say.
All right.
The boys did very well.
Yeah.
They actually did very well, and we salute them. At least, Bono.
Jordan Ayew was trending.
Oh, Jordan was in fact, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious yesterday.
Hey.
And I'm happy we didn't, and I say it without any, sometimes there are concerns. It's good Baba Rahman didn't play yesterday. If on the back of what we saw
I think he came in.
He came in later, but much later, but Gideon Mensah given a very good account of himself. He actually had to come in because there was an injury situation. That was the only reason Baba Rahman came in. And I'm not saying he's a completely bad player, but I'm saying whenever he plays, I don't like his style of football. When he plays, we concede. So it should also serve him notice that if you come and you don't perform, you'll be replaced. Bottom line, that's it.
Great. All right. So we've got our fingers crossed that game against Uruguay. All I'd like to say is that we should go in with a mindset to win. I know we all want revenge, but, let's just do this for Ghana. Let's just do this and give us something to smile about. Go Black Stars, go. We are right behind you. Rain or shine, I say. I always carry my flag to work. And you've got our full support. Well, thank you so much for watching us. We know that you've also got our full support. And you watch us every morning, and we are grateful that you can do that. Please join us tomorrow again at 6 a.m. From Benjamin and myself.
Yeah, I wish, as we say, go Black Stars, go, the economy too, if we gave it a push. Like, go economy, go. But economy, then that's one thing. But we'll get there. Sure. From us to you, we wish you the best of the day. Enjoy. Joy News Desk up next.